Or do you think slavery was necessary?
Yeah, absolutely. Because look at this. Think of this. We're all black people here. Are we all descendant of slaves? I know for sure that I am. Let's say if we are, what I think about right now is that a lot of the people that are the, downward descendants, the long-term descendants of the people that were not enslaved, they're trying to get to this country right now. They're getting shut down at the border right now. They're getting deported right now. So because of my ancestors' suffering, I have the blessing of being in this country that so many people are dying, literally dying to come to. So while
That killed millions of your people in order to create itself. Yeah. Raped your ancestors.
What country hasn't?
But does that make it right?
There's plenty.
What country has not had to hurt other people in order to either establish itself or grow its territory?
First of all, there's been no country that has done the atrocities that the transatlantic slave trade has done. That's a fact.
I would submit to you the Islamic slave trade that no one talks about. And it's still going on to today. But I would also say
it was necessary.
That when I say necessary, I know that it was part of God's plan. Every single thing is already under his control. So if he didn't want it to happen, it wouldn't have happened. And what I'm saying is, even though it was horrible, I am grateful that my ancestors were able to survive through that, because that gave my family a life that so many other people are desperate to have.
You ready?
Oh, y'all waiting for me?
I don't know what we're waiting for.
Because you just sitting there like...
No, I was listening. I didn't know. How do y'all know the person in the Jesus pictures? I didn't know that was actually a real person.
He's a real guy.
Yeah. Just read
I do a lot of
books.
I do a lot of research.
I knew that it wasn't based on Jesus. Like the images were created like around the 14th century, if I'm not mistaken. During the time of the Roman Empire. Exactly. So of course, whoever is in charge at that time is going to make the image in their
look
likeness.
like him, right?
Well, the interesting thing is it's very cultural, because there's actually, like, if you look it up, there's Asian Jesus, there's like Chinese Jesus.
There's an Asian Jesus?
Every culture depicted Jesus as their own. And I think that's it. What I like about that, though, is, God is very intentional. Every single word in that Bible is very intentional. He did not give us a description of what Jesus looks like for a reason. So I do think that it's okay that everyone has their own
interpretation.
Idea their own interpretation, because he is in us, right?
Wait, wasn't Jesus a real person though?
Yeah. But
so
there's
why is that up for
no
interpretation?
because there's no written expression of what he physically looked like. There's very
that is released today. I do think it's something under the Vatican. I feel like the Vatican has all of the archives of all of the things that we really want to know. So that is, let me put on my little hat, my little aluminum foil hat. Yeah.
Yes, me
but
too.
I really truly believe that in the Vatican archives, they have a whole bunch of things, and I believe that there is a depiction or a thought process of what Jesus was supposed to look like, allegedly, but they don't want us to know.
If I'm not mistaken, the original Bible was the Ethiopian Bible, which has a different depiction as well.
So not the original Bible in its entirety, but the oldest copies of the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the oldest copies that we have ever found are in Ethiopia and are written in Ge'ez, which is the Ethiopian language. So that's the thing, like, when people try to come for me, they're like, oh, you worship the white man's religion. I'm like, baby, when was Ethiopia a white country? No. Ethiopia is the only African country that was never colonized. So we know that this gospel was never influenced by the Romans or anyone else. Matthew, the Apostle Matthew of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the Apostle Matthew was martyred, killed in Ethiopia. Yeah. And what I tell people all the time, and I'm not a Hebrew Israelite at all, and I will debate those people under the grave.
Nah, chill. Come on, those are our brothers.
Trash.
You can't do that to our brothers.
They are a cult.
What do you mean them dudes that be downtown?
People call them the gospel cues.
Bro,
the gospel cues is
actually hilarious. Purple and gold.
They be scaring the hoes.
They do be scaring the hoes.
Welcome back to So Shameless. As you can tell, we have a very educated young lady here with us on the couch. I am Tahoe TV. We have Dodge.
He over there?
Trom.
What's happening?
It's crazy.
And our guest is somebody that I saw on Instagram. I followed her. I disagree with almost everything she says. But I love how intelligent she is, how knowledgeable she is. And I wanted to have these conversations with you. I respect you. You know what I'm saying? The fact that you are so passionate about what you believe in and you're educated as well, it's like, yo, how could you hate on that? You know what I mean? And I think that in today's world, we like to label people and get rid of them. We like, oh, no, that's it, right? When we don't use the two, we always use the one. We use the mouth, we don't use the two. We don't use the ears. We don't want to sit and have a real conversation with, as we did with Hope Giselle a few weeks ago. That episode went crazy. Shout out to everybody that cursed me out in the comments. Thank you for listening.
Cursed you out for what did you do?
Listen.
Oh, how dare you?
I listen.
Well, it's coming back around on this one. I promise you that. Once they know who I am.
Oh,
You know?
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. Why don't you tell them who you are? It's hashtag.
Marien.
Excuse me. I know that was nasty.
Did you just do that in the
I
mic?
did. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. It came up nasty. My bad.
That was a woman, y'all. This is 2026. You get what you get
I'm sorry.
from these ladies.
Nah, my allergy. No.
Bro, I said, what the fuck? I got the headphones on. Yesterday's not here. I said, what the fuck?
Nah, my allergies is busting. I'm sorry.
Hashtag _
Marien.
Marien.
Yes. Say all
And
the letters.
tell these people about yourself before we
Yes.
start.
Thank you for having me.
Of
first
course,
all.
of course.
You're-
Thank you for being here.
Oh man.
I'm sure you have 1,000 people who want to call you all types of names, whatever. I'm pretty sure. I don't know how you felt
She has
comfortable.
to say who she is first, and nobody knows what she's talking about.
Right. They're like, what does she do?
What does she
She's
do?
She's
Like,
an
who did-
assassin.
Right. Who does she piss off?
This heinous woman.
Yes, please tell us who you are.
Yeah, so thank you for having me. My short title is Christian pro-black conservative. That's what you'll find on my Instagram bio. I would call myself a Christian political commentator. My views are pro-Trump, pro-Republican, and I... Exactly. Yes.
Very icky.
She's like, I didn't even know who I was sitting next to.
No. I did. No. I did. I absolutely am very aware.
Okay.
But it's a little icky.
I'll give you I'll start with my short spiel on why I believe the things that I do. Right. One, I am a Christian. I am a Holy Spirit filled and led woman of God. Right. So for me, as I started to grow closer to Christ, as I was questioning the things that are happening in our world, looking at what the government suggests and push to especially Black people, but to people in general, I just started to realize that almost everything that the Democrat Party pushes goes directly against the Word of God. So as someone that does not support abortion, as someone that does not support transgenderism or the idea that God would make a mistake and put a man in a woman's body, etc., as someone that does believe in the nuclear family, that does believe men are designed by God to lead the family, that women should respect men, that women should hope for and promote the leadership of men, and that women can have a direct and intentional purpose that God will give them, but that this concept of feminism has ripped us away from what is actually healthy for children and for our society. I just couldn't vote for the supposedly Black-ish woman who was promoting abortion, promoting transgenderism, and also promoting, let's be honest, a bunch of sexual, liberation, which I call debauchery.
Shout out to the debaucherous.
Shout out to all the debaucherous people in the world. Hallelujah, holla back. We are here.
I just want to make sure that we all have a room where we make sure that we show respect to our guest. Our guest feels comfortable.
Right. So chat.
We have the
calm
right
down.
to disagree.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Respectfully, right? This is a Black woman on our couch, in our home, on our stage, and we will respect her accordingly. Some of the things that you said in describing yourself sounds like, do you uphold patriarchy?
Yeah. I have no problem with patriarchy.
That's honest.
Yeah. I think it functions far better than a matriarchy.
Ugh. That's icky.
Why you say that?
I think women are too
I
emotional.
want to hear why Dodge said, oh, God. I agree with you there. Hold up, baby. I'm a Trump supporter too.
Probably are.
No, please stop. But
Probably
this is exactly what we are not going to do. I'm going to be very crystal clear. I appreciate you and your thoughts and your point of view. However, comma, there will be no conversions in this whole today.
It might be.
No, it won't. Absolutely, it can't be.
I got a few red hats in the back.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. Please, God. It's Sunday. It's Sunday.
crazy.
Come on.
I'm actually looking forward to what things we can agree on. So not necessarily conversions, but what do we actually agree on?
I think that there is space to agree on a lot of different things. You asked me why I said that that's icky. The idea of a matriarchy, because I feel like for generations, and I'm gonna make sure that when we have this conversation, I'm gonna stick to America, and I'm not gonna make it like too much bigger and broader than that. This country has always been a patriarchy, and it's literally in shit. Like, this is the third world country that people think outside countries are. I think America is extremely ghetto. I think that half of the things that go on in here are disgusting and despicable. And with that, I don't think that the patriarchy is working, because it's not working.
If I can quickly interject.
Go ahead.
One thing that people really don't consider when thinking about the state that this country is in now is the fact that we had the feminist movement and that happened in the 60s. And since the 60s, we have seen America tank as far as a global entity that people look down upon. Prior to that, and this is why so many people, when we say MAGA, we're talking about getting America back to a place where people respect us across the world.
It's hurting my soul.
I get that. And I know what I'm saying is strange to people that, just can't believe they're seeing someone with brown skin say this. But one, let me make this clear. I've been a Democrat up until about 4 years ago. And I found no legitimate reason to continue to vote Democrat. In doing my research and understanding the devastating, I just posted a video about feminism, the devastating long-term results of feminism cannot be understated. As we started to push women into the workforce, as we started to remove mothers from homes, as the government, the Democratic government, was able to get 2 taxable incomes, which is all they really wanted, and able to have mothers removed from their children, so now they're the ones that are raising these kids, right? Like, the government has your kids for most of the day.
Right.
And on top of it, we see, I just did this, in the 50s, something like, I don't even know, I would have to reference it again, right? But in the 50s, we had something about maybe 5% of women were doing some form of sex work. Now it's risen to, not 5%, sorry, about 50,000
That's
women.
the oldest job in the world. Like, prostitution, sex work, all of that is literally the oldest.
It's an old profession, but it was not a popular profession.
No.
It wasn't something that was normalized in any culture. It was always looked down upon, right? Now, however, we go from somewhere around 50,000 women doing sex work in the 50s. Now we have over 1 million women in this country alone doing some form of sex work, cam work, whatever it is.
Shout out to them. They're making money.
They're making money, but at what end? To what ends, right? To what position in their soul? To what position in their bodies? When we look at the long-term results of this, when we see women turning around and saying, dang, I really ruined my life. I really wish I didn't do this. Right now, if you look, there's a trend of women going on Instagram and saying, like, someone convinced me to do OnlyFans. I thought I was going to make a bunch of money. And then they give you the results of making $100, $200 a month, getting fired from their job, their families being like, yo, I'm so disappointed in you, etc. You don't really win with all of this. That's why, again, I am a Christian. I know that Satan is real, and I see the things that he has told people to normalize, and you look at the long-term results, and we are desperately in need of people coming back to morals in this country.
That's where we can agree. All right, so I want to preface this conversation where I'm not a feminist. My God, I cannot. I'm also not a liberal. I'm moderate.
Amen.
Left of center, but moderate for the most part. So I think that there are a lot of things that we can agree on. There are 2 things that are prickly for me from what you stated so far. One thing is that when we took women out of the home and put them into work, I think that I don't really care about white women. I don't really care what white women do. So I'm only going to speak in the essence of black people and black women. And black women have always worked.
Yes,
black women we were in the fields. We were seamstresses. We were cleaning. So I don't think that modern feminist movement had a lot of trajectory or like traction when it comes to black women, because we always were working. I would love to be a stay-at-home wife. I ask my husband all the time. He keeps telling me no. Hey, babe, once again, can I stay the fuck home? I'm sick of this shit. He's gonna say no. But at the end of the day, like I think that is one of those talking points that does not necessarily resonate with black people in America. But my other question is, go ahead.
Quickly, I agree with you. You're totally right. But that when we're speaking about, we have to understand that feminism was in waves, right?
Ugh.
So first wave feminism, second wave feminism, then third wave feminism was intentionally pulling in black women. So there was that whole push, was like, ain't I a woman, right?
Yes.
We know that. That is third wave feminism, where black women said, well, wait, what about me?
Yeah.
And so what happened with black women in that regard is, you're right, we've always worked outside the home. That's something I addressed in my video. But what happened is, instead of saying, oh, I want these rights, now it was, one, the sexual liberation movement of the 70s and 80s and Woodstock, etc. Women,
that's white
hippies.
people shit.
But black people were in on it too. Don't forget. Think about what's her name?
Angela Davis.
No. Pam Grier. Thank
Okay.
you. The 70s were a big time for black women. Blaxploitation, all of that. And then on top of it, it came down to, well, I have not just rights, but I have let's call it the demand to be an equal partner in my relationship, right?
Yeah.
So now feminism told, but that's just not the case. You shouldn't be equal partners. There should be a hierarchy in your home.
Yes.
Your husband should have final say on things. That's just what it should be.
If he could beat my ass, like if you can't fight, you don't get a final say. You gotta. If you can't
Feminism
fight,
frowned upon that too.
If you can't knuckle up,
What
I don't know.
are we talking about?
You know me. I'm gonna always be myself.
Can you be serious?
No.
But if he did beat your ass, everyone would say you're wrong.
Let's
Everyone
go
would
all the
call
way
him-
back.
Yeah,
No, don't. All right, calm down.
Let's go all the way
Let's not
back.
take it too far. But I do have one question that I want to ask before you start controlling the conversation. Are you a Republican or are you MAGA? Because those are two different things.
I am a conservative, and I do subscribe to the MAGA ideology.
But are you a Republican?
I call myself a conservative because conservatism is an ideology that I agree with. When it comes to Republican, I do vote Republican, by and large. But I will say, like, I didn't vote Republican in the last mayoral.
I was gonna ask you if you voted for Sleeva.
I wish he would have got out the way. He's the reason we have Mandami right now.
Not too much. Not too much on my mayor in my head. Not too much.
Girl,
Oh my God.
I just did a podcast yesterday about that man's horrendous first 100 days. We can go into that off camera.
Was it better than Eric Adams?
Actually, Eric Adams had a higher approval rate after his first 100 days than Mandami has. It's
Don't
the
do
truth.
that.
These are true.
I believe
Don't
that.
do that
Facts
bald
are
head
facts.
scallywag. I can't. If there's somebody that I cannot stand, is that bald headed scallywag of a mayor that y'all used to have. See, I can't. I don't live here. I can't.
Don't
vote
you
here.
think that Eric Adams had a better, even though he was black, he was also a former cop, former police officer, and then you have the first Muslim
Love it.
mayor.
Wow.
And,
Welcome to Mamdanistan.
Don't you
y'all,
think?
y'all listen? Y'all think
Slick.
these Muslims are coming all gentle? Okay, you need to look at any country that allows Muslims into power. Not this is me saying, just go do the research. Go look at Europe right now. Look at Europe right now. Understand
Why do you
that
say
the 10th, the people need
So
to
it's like
understand.
you're against Muslim, transgender, sex people.
I'm not against Muslims. I am against Islam, and I really need to make that clear because
What about Judaism?
Muslims, the people. Judaism is a very different conversation because Judaism is the original faith that Christianity stems from.
Right.
So there is prophecy in scripture where God promises that he will give Jews the opportunity to repent and to come to him during the final days. That's in Revelation. So I can't hate the Jews in mass because they are my God's original chosen people. That said, I always account for the fact that people are people, right? So I never, you're not going to see me on here talking about, oh, I'm pro-Israel or I think Israel can do no wrong. In that conversation, I acknowledge that people are people. There is absolutely always a striving for power in any culture. Of course. So there's definitely bad Jews in the world. I will say it just like that.
It's bad everybody. Right. Exactly. It is bad everybody in the world.
But when it comes to Islam, I've done immense studying, deep studying. The thing about Islam and their ideology is that their goal is to take over. It's not through loving conversion. It's not through go out and preach the gospel like Jesus said. It is a war-focused conquering. So if you look at what Muhammad did originally, and again, this isn't a religious podcast, so we don't have to dwell on this, but if you look at Muhammad and his way of converting people and his way of grasping territory. And then you look at the reality of how Islam has been able to spread since then. The fact is there's 53 Muslim countries in the world. And when people leave a country, they don't go to other Muslim countries for some reason. They come to Western countries and they're doing it because they want to spread Islam. And as you allow them into your government, there's Dearborn, Michigan right now. So many Muslims have gotten into power that they now banned the pride flag from being flown outside of homes.
But wouldn't you want the same?
It's offensive. No, see, that's the thing about Christianity. We are not here to force people to change their ways. We are here to hopefully impress upon you to do certain things. But we're not going to force you to completely change your ways. At least you shouldn't. Right. I'm not saying that Christianity hasn't been used to do that.
It has. It's been very pushy and started a lot of wars. And when you think about, I think that all religion have done that. Right. Don't even get me on colonization and don't even get me on the way that
colonization though. Girl, you would rather be having sex with trees?
Who had sex with a tree?
A lot of these ancient religions had sex with trees. A lot of pagans had sex. Yes, Africans.
Find me.
Absolutely.
The nigga tree fucker. Find me.
I'm joking, but I can.
You gotta find it for me.
Look this up. I'm
find
not
it for
making
me.
it up.
Find me the nigga tree fucker.
Let's talk about something that's still happening to this day. Do you know about female circumcision?
Of course, but we're talking about
that is a
remember I said I just want to talk. I only want to talk about America.
Let each other speak.
Okay.
We are.
Since she's our guest. Let's
we're fine.
Speak.
No, I think we're doing good.
Yeah, we're chilling.
Yeah, but the listeners is like I'm listening like, yo, let's everybody.
What I would say is what I know is when I look at the realities of what is still happening in certain African nations, because I don't know if you know for sure that you're a descendant of slavery, but I know for sure that I'm a descendant of slavery in this country. So my people definitely came from either Ghana or, somewhere around there. I have no interest in the cultural practices of my ancestors. They are not positive, by and large. There's a lot of hedonistic ways. If you look at just the fertility dances that they do, that's actually where we get the concept of twerking from, is from African fertility dances. And I'm like, that is, okay. What I'm going to end up doing here is preaching, literally giving breakdown of what we know to be true as far as the worship of pagan gods. But pagan worship includes a lot of sexual worship and a lot of fertility dances with the intention of creating babies that end up being slaughtered and sacrificed to gods like Molech and Baal. And that's why when I see the Democrat Party specifically promoting every type of sexual activity you can possibly do and then telling you go ahead and unalive your unborn child, I can't help but root those two things together as a continuation of pagan practices. For me, having a Christian, the understanding that yes, maybe my ancestors were not Christian at the time that they were enslaved.
They were not.
But prior to that, they might have been before
Probably not.
Fell from faith. Well, Africa, again, we talked about how, the Bible was in Africa well before anywhere else, right? Yes. So we know that a decent amount of Africans, at some point, they were exposed to the Bible. And then there's also pagan influence as well. So we don't know for sure if our distant ancestors weren't already Christian. Christianity has been around for over 2,000 years, So when I see that through Christianity, my ancestors received the knowledge of self-respect, morality, family units, not killing kids, not being, debaucherous, working on yourself, having self-discipline, and in my opinion, serving the one true God and not being confused by these other, what we believe are fallen angels telling people to worship them as God. I'm completely fine with colonization.
Under the guise in which people have been colonized,
yeah.
you're okay with all of that as well, because it all comes together. Because colonization is not like, hey, how you doing? Would you like to accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior? Colonization is a bloodbath. It is abduction. It is mass conversion. It is rape. It is molestation. It is all of these different things. There's nothing nice or kind or, in my head, Christian about the way that colonization happens and the way that it has continued to happen. So it's very much, is it Uchiwali or is it one mic? I don't understand how Christians could be MAGA. I don't understand how, where is the line?
Sure.
I think that's the question that I have. Where is your line for how you personally feel about Donald Trump? Because there has to be a line. I can tell you where he crossed my line.
Okay.
But I would like to know, where is your line? Because up until yesterday, you're still defending him. You defended him on Easter. I watched that video and I said, oh, hell no, I got to turn this off. This is crazy. You stepped out of church and got on a video to defend a man that didn't even say he is risen, happy resurrection day.
Yeah, I didn't leave church. I didn't step out of church.
No, I know.
I want to make that clear.
Yeah, you did say that in the video.
So let me address the two things that you mentioned. One, you mentioned, the spread, how colonialism happened.
Ew.
I will say very clearly, I do not conflate God's actions and man's actions, right? So what we have, for instance, God allowed the Hebrews to be enslaved in Egypt for 400 years, right? But through that slavery, that's where we get the 10 plagues. No, that later on through Moses, but we get the 10 plagues of Egypt. We get the Exodus, and then we get not only the 10 commandments, but the entire law of Moses, right? Then we get the promised land later on. So what we see through scripture, and it is true in even the personal lives of Christians, God allows very, very, very painful things to happen because at the end he has a better outcome waiting. It is very difficult.
What takes him so long?
Hard to,
400 years is crazy.
Sucks.
You're the all powerful.
Yeah.
You can snap a finger and fix it. So why persecute your children? Why persecute the people that believe in you, the people that worship you for years, for generations, for centuries? And it's hey, you know what? I got a plan at the end of this though. So just hold out. You're not going to be alive for that plan. Your kids might not even be alive for that plan, but you got to hold it. Hold this your whole life of slavery and of persecution, and just know that later on, your great grandchildren, they'll reap the benefits of. My thoughts on it doesn't even matter. But go ahead.
No, that's a tough question. I actually did a debate. It'll be out in a bit, but it's 20 Christians against one atheist, and that was the conversation. It's there's too much suffering for God to be real. And for a God that is supposedly all loving to exist, it's too much suffering. And I didn't get to debate this claim, but I did prepare my answer for it, which is that, there's so much to understand with the way that this world is as a result of the fall of man in the first place, right? As a result of the eating of the apple and the expulsion from the Garden of Eden, which would have been a place of no suffering. Now that we are in this place, what God does is, in his completely amazing brain that we'll never understand, he's already written out some very long but very powerful testimonies for people. So the way I equate it is my daughter, we're both mothers. Our kids might not understand why we're making them study. Right? Why are you making me do homework? This sucks. I don't like doing homework. I don't want to do it. And it's I get that. I really do.
Because I don't want you on OnlyFans, and I don't want you to be a midnight ballerina. I want you to learn and go to college and make something of yourself and make me proud. That's why.
In the midst of it, for them, it just seems like mommy sucks. Mommy doesn't want me to have a good time. Mommy could.
But they grow out of that in 10 years.
Mommy could stop this if she wanted to. Mommy could come over and give me the answers. She could. She could calm this down and stop it quickly if she wanted to. Why doesn't she do it if she loves me? But mommy knows that there is value in that suffering that our children consider homework. God knows that there was value in the suffering that the Egyptians dealt with in the suffering of our ancestors as enslaved people, in any suffering in this world, we will never understand it.
So do you think there was slavery was necessary?
Yeah, absolutely. Because look at this. Think of this. We're all black people here. Are we all descendant of slaves? Do we know? I know for sure that I am. Are you guys
on one side or the other?
Yeah.
Are you FBA? I don't think I'm an FBA.
Okay, that's okay.
I'm a half and half.
A half and half. Okay.
I didn't do a DNA test.
Okay,
so
no worries.
If that's what you're asking.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say if we are, I know for a fact that I am. What I think about right now is that a lot of the people that are the downward descendants, the long-term descendants of the people that were not enslaved, they're trying to get to this country right now. They're getting shut down at the border right now. They're getting deported right now. So because of my ancestors' suffering, I have the blessing of being in this country that so many people are dying, literally dying to come to. Mm-hmm. So while
that killed millions of your people in order to create itself, that raped your ancestors.
What country hasn't?
But does that make it right?
There's plenty.
What country has not had to hurt other people in order to either establish itself or grow its territory? Give me one country that never hurt anyone.
There's been no country that has done the atrocities that the transatlantic slave trade has done.
Yep. I would submit to you the Islamic slave trade that no one talks about, that has gone on since the 7th century and is still going on to today.
No, I've never heard of it. What is it?
Exactly. And that's the crazy part. You haven't heard of it. It's the Islamic slave trade, because those Africans didn't come here, we don't hear about it. But they have been enslaving people. Actually, if you even want to get biblical, they were, from when they were called the Ishmaelites, they were enslaving people from the time of Abraham. That's who Abraham's brothers sold him into slavery. Mm-hmm. And then Abraham ends up a slave in Egypt, right? So the Islamic slave trade has started since the time of Muhammad. Muhammad lived in about 540 something years after Jesus. So we're talking around the 7th century, yeah. And he has a culture of enslaving people, primarily women and children. And they go to be concubines. They end up being sex slaves. Just when you have time, look into it. Mm-hmm. Far more people.
So the Christians decided to one up it and was like, if you could do it, I could do it better? Because that's basically what happened. Chattel slavery in America is literally the most disgusting and despicable form of slavery in all of history. And only America does not feel like, only America and Israel are like, nah, it wasn't that bad.
I mean, I hear you. I would never say it wasn't that bad. I would never say that. But I would also say that necessary. When I say necessary, I didn't even say necessary. I know that it was part of God's plan. Every single thing is already under his control. So if he didn't want it to happen, it wouldn't have happened. And what I'm saying is, even though it was horrible, I am grateful that my ancestors were able to survive through that, because that gave my family a life that so many other people are desperate to have. That's all I'm saying. I'm never going to justify the concepts of slavery in general. And it's important to know God doesn't justify the type of slavery that was performed in his name.
Of course.
If you read, scripture, you'll see there's a clause when God talks about slavery. You're supposed to allow a man to be freed after 7 years.
Yeah.
That's actually where we get the concept of debts being erased. That's why bankruptcy clears from your, credit after 7 years, because it comes from Christian values where Jesus or, the Bible says clear debts and let an enslaved person go. You're supposed to let an enslaved person take their whole family with them if they want to leave, right?
Exactly.
So we know that what was done was not in line with God's word. That's why they had to create the slave Bibles, because if slaves were able to read the truth, they would have known that these slave owners were not in line with scripture.
Right. And then you use God as a way to control and condemn people. And that is part of I'm a mere human. I do not understand. I do not wish to understand. I do not aspire to understand. But what I can say is, and to go back to your original argument of as mothers, the things that we have to do. Yeah, you have to go to school. You have to do the things that you don't want to do, but that's not a lifetime of. That is, and you're a child for a very short period of time, and I have to mold you the best I can in this very short period of time. And after that, you get to go off and you do your own thing. You can do whatever you want to do. Essentially, effectively, I have to instill moral values in you from the beginning and then hope that you become the person that I want you to be. That is not hundreds of years of, don't worry, I have the answer to the plan. And right. That is something that I can't sit with. But I really want to know, what is your line? What is the line with you and Donald Trump?
Hold on. Before you answer that question, Trump was trying to get something out.
Yeah. So
my bad.
I noticed that a lot of what you're saying is based on God's word and the scriptures, right? And I noticed, I looked up some of your stuff and I saw a video where you were talking about science versus the scripture, right?
Yeah.
Very interesting video. I liked it, right?
Thank you.
And a lot of times in science, conclusions come where it's like, we don't know, right?
Exactly.
And on the other side, I feel like sometimes, according to scripture, you had answers for things. My question to you is, how can yourself or somebody that's a Christian or somebody reading the Bible be so convinced that these things are reality and not faith, based on the fact that these were things written by a human, things that were translated
by humans,
edited, changed, left to interpretation? Some stuff is literal. Some stuff we're told, oh, it's not meant to be literal. It's supposed to be this. And so could you explain how you come to things as a fact and reality based off of scripture?
Sure. So, okay, I'll give you not perfect, but one of my big aha moments when it came to scripture, right? So, to believe that scripture is the word of God, you have to have some reason to believe that, right? Like, something in it has to be otherworldly. Something in it has to just point to someone outside of humans being able to ever write it. So specifically with the story of the flood and Noah, right? I'm trying to remember the verse, but I'm not going to remember the exact verse. But in Genesis, when Moses writes, Genesis, etc. So when Moses is writing about the flood, he says that the heavens burst open and water rained down on the earth, and the springs of the deep burst forth and water came from under the earth and flooded the whole earth. So I found that very fascinating, and I went ahead and researched it. Turns out in around 1960, scientists confirmed that there are indeed springs underwater. This is not something that a man living 6,000 years ago would ever know on his own, right? Now, that's one specific thing, but that's just something that I like to point out, because as you read the word and as you really dive into it, there are things that don't make sense for a human of that time to know without some type of divine intervention. Someone
aliens.
Telling it. Could be aliens.
It was the aliens.
Could very well be aliens. The question would come back to, like, where are the aliens coming from, right? Why
ocean.
are they? Okay.
I mean,
I'm so
I
serious.
for one, me personally, and I might be wrong in this, I don't really think it's right for us to question anybody's faith or what they believe in as far as who they worship. And, I personally don't. When you spoke on Islam, though, you gave a pass somewhat to Judaism, yet condemned Islam. When in today's world, if we look at what happened in Gaza, I don't know if you support what happened in Gaza, or the religious wars that's going on over there. It looks as if Israel is doing what you said Islam was doing. It looks as if Israel is like, yo, I'm taking all of this.
Do you know that you can't Google, like, Palestine is not on a map anymore? Like, if you go to, like, Google Maps and put in Palestine, nothing is going to come up.
Was it ever there?
Yes. It was Israel. That shit is gone.
I mean, I don't know, but when did that happen?
Through the occupation and the war and all of this stuff. Like, Palestine's, their land has been shrinking in years. Definitely. And now it's at the point and the only reason why I know this is so random. Me and Parker were having a conversation, and she asked me a question about Moses. So with her little 7-year-old self, I said, oh, let's watch The Prince of Egypt. So we watched The Prince of Egypt, and we were watching it, and we're like having conversations about it. And then like at the end, you know, they crossed the Red Sea. So then me, in my mind, I'm like, the Red Sea, when you cross the Red Sea, so wouldn't you technically be in Gaza? You would be in Palestine. So then I was going to pull it up on a map for her, and I literally I didn't Google Israel. I Googled the Red Sea, and you see the two sides, and I'm like, okay, but that's Palestine right there in my head. And then I put in Palestine in Google Maps, and it said not found. And I said, what is happening here? And then when you deep dive into and you look into it more, it doesn't exist anymore.
To me, that would be American propaganda. Me personally, that would be the way America, like, that's how Trump used to do the Gulf of America.
Gulf of America?
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's recognized somewhere else as
take
something.
Ew.
But
Take it from what? Take it from who?
you said we should take the Gulf of...
We should take Mexico.
Can we go back to Tahoe's original point? Because we went off on the tangent about the map, but you were going somewhere with that.
I don't remember what the fuck I said.
You were asking
the persecution of Muslims.
Judaism versus Islam, basically, and why I give a pass to Judaism
versus
Islam.
Islam.
Okay, so one, Islam is a completely false faith, and I say this with respect again to Muslims. I highly respect their faith. I respect their devotion to their faith, but I debate Muslims all the time. Very simply, just to quickly explain, as I mentioned, Muhammad lived 540 something years after Christ. Then Muhammad comes out, says that he has a dream, and in that dream, Jesus told him that he was never crucified, never died, and never rose from the dead. Those three things are the three things that Christians hinge our entire faith upon, right? It's also some of the most highly recorded events in history. When it comes to Julius Caesar, there's something like 20 or so manuscripts written attestations to him existing. When it comes to Jesus, there's like 20,000 plus. And we're not talking about the Bible. We're talking about people that just were like, wow, there's this random preacher guy in Bethlehem that has everybody going crazy, and they're writing to their friends, or writings from Pontius Pilate, who was the governor of Rome of the time, writing about how he's going to have to crucify this man who hasn't done anything wrong, etc. Right? So we know for a fact that Jesus lived. We know for a fact that he died because it's well attested, and we know that when he rose, over 500 plus people saw the risen Christ well after he was actually killed. Right? Saying all that to say, to deny that, you have to instantly question that person, right? I question Muhammad's reasoning for denying that. And then when you look at what Jesus said, mind you, Muslims believe in Jesus, right?
Do.
They think they do. Actually, let me be clear, because
I say this. No,
they do. They believe that he is a prophet, but he is not the all-seeing God that Christians believe. And I have another question about that, but that's another story.
So Muslims believe in Isa. That is what Jesus is called in the Quran. However, it makes no sense, and I have a video about that, because during Muhammad's time, the Bible already existed, right? It was already written in Arabic. So Jesus's name in the Arabic Bible was Yeshua. Yeah, it's Yeshu, but you're correct. It was a deviation of Yeshua. So where did Isa come from? And Isa is, for some reason, the only time we see Isa, it's in the Quran, never before, okay? That said, all of this said, because I do want to get on to your points about Trump. And God loves to do this to me. He'll be like, hey, I'm going to send you over there and you're going to preach and you don't even realize you're going to do it today. But I'm happy to do it. I love to learn. And this is, part of my calling. Right. In regards to my understanding and,
of Israel's movement. Right.
So what I would love for people to remember is that there are 53 Muslim countries, completely Muslim, not places where Muslims live, 53 countries that are under Muslim rule, and one Jewish country, just one.
There is no Israel. Jewish country. It's a Jewish state.
Sure, if that's
they do not have a country
that has continuously grown into,
and wants to continue to grow. They want to grow,
but
beyond.
Should they not be allowed to? So one of the biggest,
can't answer that on.
That's
on the
the
interweb.
Well,
right.
she
I
said,
We can talk about it, but I can't.
This video might get shadow banned if we talk about it too deeply.
Yeah,
I'll
can't
be
talk about it on the
honest,
interweb, but I'm gonna tell you. I'll tell you what I gotta tell you.
well, you said take everything when it came to America. So that would kind of show why you don't really care what Israel is doing, because you think America should do the same thing.
Well, when it comes to America, I think that we should take Mexico and Canada.
We never had Mexico and Canada. Why?
I know. We should take them.
And do what with them?
Expand. We
Why?
should make them America. Because millions of Mexicans are trying to become American every freaking year.
But why?
Because their government is deeply corrupt, and those people are struggling. No, my point is, if that many Mexicans want to be American, we should just make Mexico America. We can't fit all of them over here, but we can certainly go over there and help them build their economy. We can help them,
we can't even build our economy.
If I may interject, when we were talking about colonization, one thing that we did not talk about was the economic part of it, and how colonizers go into other people's land, take all their resources, and disrupt their financial operations. So you're saying a country has been infiltrated, resources taken, disrupted, coups, assassinations, and then you're wondering why some of the people are suffering and want to leave. They're not leaving because America is this fantastic place.
Facts.
They're leaving because of economic pressures due to
But is
what
that
we
the
investigated.
but is that the true and total complete truth?
Yes.
Right? Because the reason that Mexico is still struggling and suffering is because drug lords run the government. And that is something that's been happening for quite some time.
Well, pedophiles run this government. We ain't no better.
We're
not
if you think
better.
that pedophiles are not in Mexico,
if a government is...
I need you to look at how normalized child marriage is in Mexico.
In the same way as
normalized. Child marriage is extremely normalized in Islam.
And it's extremely normalized.
Islamic countries.
I read this book called
Confessions
of an Economic Hitman, right? I don't know if you heard of it, right? It talks about this ex-CIA operative that he wrote a book. He talks about how he personally went into other countries, disrupt their whole finances, and created coups and assassinations. If you create an unstable government, that will allow drug lords and other people to then assume power. So it's a very layered thing. What we're talking about, there's so many variables in here. You can't be like, oh, well, there are drug dealers there, so they're bad.
No,
we need to take over. There's a lot of layers to this. There's a lot of variables to this. And all that to say, and then, to go back to what you're saying about we should take over more countries.
Jesus.
Yeah. And your response to that,
do you know that this country...
Your Muslims do it. Sure. So it's kind of like, oh, well, everybody's doing it. But is that just? Is that righteous? Is that something that sits well with you and your God?
Why should one, look at scripture. Look at how often God says, I'm going to give you this land. Look at how often he tells his people... you can go ahead and have this. I will drive out the inhabitants of the land, and I'm giving this to you. But more importantly, why does everyone want America to be so nice? Why do y'all want us to be
never been nice?
But this is why do you want us to start now?
No,
why do you
I don't
want us to just be this gentle, we're just this gentle giant who's going to take care of everybody. Do you know how much money we give to other countries?
Disgusting.
And I'm not just talking about in, like foreign alliances. I'm talking about actual aid. I'm talking about helping African nations, helping, with, just foreign affairs, helping out.
Because America is world police. That's the problem. Like,
though NATO is world police.
No. America is world police. Even though we're not actually like sticking our flag in lands, we have our hands in everything in all of these different. No, not good. America is not in a strong enough, in a stable enough place for us to be interfering in other people's business. You have to take care of your house first. This country is
you believe in America first. That's a MAGA.
You want to know what's
I'm
so
just
funny?
Saying.
No.
I'm gonna get the red hat. It's right back here.
No, please don't make me crash out. I'm gonna be very honest.
It's America first. That's America first.
I am. I am gonna be very honest about how I feel about things individually.
Okay.
Because I believe that MAGA is a cult, but that's another situation entirely. I believe.
I was never I didn't have to prick my finger to join.
Now you don't have to do nothing to join. You literally don't have to do anything but just put on the hat. But
I don't even own a hat.
I hope you don't.
If someone wants to buy me one,
absolutely not. Nobody in this audience.
Message me.
What I will say is, I do believe that it should be America first. I absolutely believe that. I also believe that this country is inherently disrespectful, and I also think that this country does not have its shit in order. Because if somebody asks me, like, what are you? I'm never going to say I'm African American. I'm American, period. Full stop. Like, full stop. Because how many generations do Black people have to be in this country to be full American? Period. Americans are not, when people think Americans, they think white people. When white people are immigrants, just like all of these people that you're saying that you don't want to be here, they are immigrants. Ellis Island is right over there. Ellis Island is right over there. If you're not native and you were not brought here under duress like we were, we didn't ask to be here. We were brought over here as a FBA yourself. You understand that you were brought here. Yeah. So there are only two types of Americans. Technically, that's Black people and indigenous people. All white people came from Europe. All of them. They came from England. They came from France. They came from Ireland. They are all
But what did
immigrants.
They come to?
They came over here on
to what?
To what build, was here? What to was here? Build New England, to build New Britain.
They have built the best country in the world.
They didn't build shit. We did.
In your opinion.
They built
did not.
It.
They no.
You know
they did not. They had the thought process.
Who built Facebook? Who built Facebook?
We were talking about the colonies just
really
now.
Quick. Who built Facebook?
A Jewish man.
What's his name?
That Jewish man.
Okay, so because you know the name Mark Zuckerberg, it proves that he who creates something is the one that built it. Just because they use other people to actually put it together.
He who creates something is the person that built it.
Yes.
So that means that Black people built this country.
No, we didn't. We didn't etch it out. We didn't sit down and become the.
Hold on. Who owns Twitter right now?
Elon Musk owns it. I didn't say he built. I said who created.
He who created. All right. So who created Washington D.C.?
What do you mean?
Who created Washington D.C.? Who was the architect? Who was the person that put it together?
But I know
a Black man.
Okay, so then
Benjamin Banneker.
That would be. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes,
that's awesome.
Benjamin Banneker, the mathematician.
So then that
means that Black people have then built this country.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that.
We created it.
But see, that's really tricky. That's like saying
it's not.
That's like saying you laid a brick, so you're the one that built the whole house. Like, we have to talk about the reality that this country was not being developed until Pilgrims decided to come here and start developing it.
You're talking from the perspective
from what?
of a pilgrim.
Yes.
You're not talking from the perspective globally of people that existed before.
Exactly, of the indigenous people.
History is all about perspective.
The indigenous
and
people
who wrote what.
always stole each other's land as well. That's something that is that's never spoken about.
You're talking about interfighting. These are things that everybody have done.
This is what I would say. It frustrates me when people get so mad at colonialists, at Europeans for taking over, when the reality is, even in Africa, even as Africans, it's tribalism. You've always seen one tribe taking over the entire. So why did it have to stop with borders, as far as Europeans should have stayed in Europe and not colonized anywhere else?
No.
Why
that's
are
not
we
even
so
my argument.
mad at people for doing something that made sense?
That's not my argument. My argument is not. I'm not arguing colonialism right now. We understand what happened. We understand that they came over here. We understand that they built a couple of little brick houses or whatever the case may be. But when the transatlantic slave trade happened, a lot of them sat on their fat white asses and did nothing, while the Black people dealt with and helped build the economy of this country, helped build literal buildings and streets and roads and lands and all of that.
There's no question about whether or not the enslaved Africans were the physical labor force. I'm not disagreeing with you on that.
So they built it.
The question is, who built the pyramids? Right?
The aliens.
Slaves, well, sure. We can have a deeper conversation about that.
I don't
disagree with you.
Okay.
I don't disagree.
See,
even though you would call them aliens, I call them demons. That's the difference there. But I do believe that something outside. Yeah, that's a whole thing. We'll talk about it later. But
I'll make sure
when we talk about the pyramids, the reason they exist is because the pharaohs.
Yes.
No, because the pharaohs decided to make them exist, and they decided, how do I get this done? I need a cheap labor force, and they got slaves.
Cool.
So if we're talking about the fundamentals of who built something, we have to say there is a creator, there is a thought, someone that comes up with an idea, and then there's someone that they should hire, but oftentimes didn't actually hire that someone that they enslaved to do the physical work. So I will not disagree with you that our ancestors were extremely necessary, right? They were not just influential, they were like completely mandatory for this country to have built up what it has built up.
Absolutely.
But there is no America without the Europeans coming here first to make it America. And that is my point.
And it was so unnecessary to do.
Girl, where would you rather be?
I would literally rather be in Ghana. If I could be in Ghana
They'll take
right
you. They'll
now,
take you.
I know
They'll
they
happily
will.
take you, girl.
I know they will.
They'll let you go.
Let me make a point. So I understand what you're saying, that in the history, it's the whole global history of people taking over other countries and movements that colonize each other, right?
With force.
It's happened over the entire course of history.
Exactly.
Then World War I happened. Then World War II happened.
All white men
Hear me
wars.
out, right? Then United Nations was formed.
White men.
And then at that point, now we're in a different level of civilization than we were in previous centuries, right? So now the things that you're describing, if we were to take over Mexico and Canada forcefully, that is considered a war crime by standards that almost every country has agreed on.
Yeah.
Do you not believe that that would be a war crime? You're talking about things that were okay thousands of years ago, but they're not okay now because of what we saw happen in World War I,
They
World War
just
II.
kidnapped the whole president from
And
Venezuela.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, the reality, this is, again, why I do like Trump, because he is someone that says, you know what? I get that there's rules to this game, but the rules are BS. The rules are absolutely ridiculous.
The rules that we actually helped create.
But here's what's happening instead. While other countries are like, okay, sure, I won't try to take over this land through force. Instead, what are they doing? They're trying to economically squeeze out America. That's why BRICS happen. That's why China is influencing the world as much as possible, right? That's why we have China going into African nations and saying, I'll help you with your industry. I'll help you. And as long as you use my yen. Start using the yen as your standard currency in this nation, and now let me bring some of my Chinese developers over here. I'm going to help you with your industry, right? I'm going to help you. If you
So war
want,
crimes are okay.
but do you
You see
see? Hold on, but do you see?
helpful
But do you
versus-
see? How is there any difference? Because let's talk about this realistically.
Let's do
a
it.
lot of the pain and suffering and the deaths that happen from pilgrims coming over here, it was through disease. It's not because they were actually
they're
intentionally
nasty.
trying to. Well, they had a lifestyle where they were living on top of each other in smaller cities, whereas Native Americans were living, in fresh air, so they just didn't develop these types of illnesses yet.
Fire.
Sure, agree. However, my point is they weren't actually out here just immediately killing people the moment that they saw them. They died from disease primarily.
And
so hold on. So when we look at the intention of finding a new place, deciding that it is a good place, and then deciding that you want to help build it up or build it up for your people, that is what's happening China to Africa. That is what's happening China to Brazil. That's why Trump was so serious about Venezuela, because Venezuela is amongst Brazil and Argentina and all of these places that China is setting a foothold. China does not like the U.S. One of the big things that's keeping us safe from China is our distance physically from China. The more that they can place their people closer to the U.S., the easier they can attack us. So this is why we like, those of us that like Trump, this is why we're comfortable with him saying, you know what, y'all might disagree with me on this, but I am going to take this guy. I am gonna go for Greenland, because we need to be able to control Greenland, because as China and Russia have access to the waters that go, I can't remember the exact name of the thing, because we've been talking about the Strait of Hormuz for the last week and a half, so now that's the only thing in my brain. But as China and Russia have access to this waterway that goes past Greenland, they can move heavy artillery through there.
They can.
This is why we need Mexico and Canada, because we need to broaden our. Imagine this: we space out from inland America. We have territories now that are so huge that to get to us, it's going to take you days of ground transportation, or you're going to have to fly over thousands of miles of land where we can see you.
Right.
It is about protecting mainland America. That's why I like it. And again, I'm not saying that it's going to be gentle and nice. I'm saying that we got too comfortable. This generation has gotten too comfortable with the idea of
peace.
Everything is already. It was never peaceful. It seems peaceful because it hasn't been on our shore. Business. No, there's always been wars. There's never been a time in this world that there hasn't been wars. We just don't see it because it's not physically here.
Of it. We don't have to be a part of it. We don't have to be right. Like, and I think that's the part.
Say we don't have to be a part of it, but you have to acknowledge our foreign affairs and the fact that if we're not a part of it, then the question is, how do our alliances suffer when we don't show up when our alliances need us?
We don't even have alliances
which alliances are playing us? Because a lot of them are playing us.
It's not. I think that America needs to mind America's motherfucking business. I think, and that is like that is the brass facts of it. At the end of the day, this country, since its inception, has always been in other people's business. And for us, or even, I'm not even going to say us in this moment. For anybody that claims that they're being America first and is not taking care of homeland America, but wants to spread out and do all of these different.
How is he not taking care of homeland America? I think mass deportations is definitely taking care of. Hold on, I think mass deportations is taking care of America first.
Girl, your whole church will be going then.
They are legal immigrants, and it's crazy for you to assume that they're not.
You said that there was a Jamaican church.
They are legal immigrants.
But how did you
Jamaica.
get? But how did you get to be legal? Because at first,
you go
I will say
correct path.
No. I will say this.
We don't have a problem with immigrants. Let's be clear. I have
this
no problem with
This is a nation
immigrants.
of immigrants.
Precise. We have no problem with immigrants. But we have a problem with people cutting in line. It's not okay.
That is okay.
We have a problem with people coming here and living off of our social services without ever having given a single tax dollar to those social services, while especially Black and brown Americans don't receive those social services and get ignored in favor of someone that just got
here.
You
can't say Black and brown when these people are Black and brown.
Frauding from us. When we have Black and brown Americans, I said. Skinfolk are not kinfolk. Go to Africa. They're going to tell you real quick, you're a gringo. You're a Yankee. Exactly.
It's lit.
You are not their people. Talk to Africans and they will tell they tell their kids, don't talk to those Black Americans.
Yeah, I know. We already had that conversation a long time ago. But
this is a great, passionate conversation, but I want to make sure that we keep things in a space where we can hear each other.
Sure.
Right? You guys are doing it. First, you two ladies, I was excited to see y'all here on the same couch, on these same mics. Y'all, when Dodge speaks with a passion and understanding that sometimes I just got sitting just, but when I listen to you, I feel the same way. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad that you guys are able to converse, but I want to be able to hear it.
Yeah.
Trom, I know you've been trying to get your points off. Do you have any questions for Marien as to what she said so far?
I have a lot, but I'll just start with where I last asked because I don't feel like it was answered. I might have got derailed a little bit. So let me take a step back. And correct me if I'm wrong, you're basically saying that we should try to take over Mexico, Canada, other countries because other countries are doing the same, right? And we have to compete and otherwise, we could possibly lose any potential global wars and things like that, right? Yeah. So as a spiritual person, which I am, and I assume you are, what is the end game here? Do you look at the world in an optimistic place of peace, or are you trying to be the worst person in the best position? You know what I mean? Right. So, like, okay, America can be the actually morally and integrity-wise and treatment of human beings, killing, murder, and rape, and all those things. America can achieve all of that and be the top country on the globe. But at what point are you satisfied? At what point do you think that's the goal versus trying to achieve some sort of peace where we can coexist?
Okay.
And human rights not be violated. I think what you're saying.
That's the most important part.
What you're saying.
Okay. I think that it would be beneficial to not be unrealistic about what this world is, right? I think that when we're looking at society, when we look at the world around us, it is more bad than good. Mm-hmm. The things that are happening, especially in places like Mexico, Mexico has so much pain and suffering and crime and abuse, especially of women and children, that us taking it would actually be a good thing. removing the corrupt government would actually be a good thing. When you see people that come here and they say, oh, the reason I'm coming is because the drug lords came through my village and said to everyone, either you start planting cocaine plants or start planting poppy plants for opium, or I kill your whole family. And my father is the only one that resisted and they killed him. So we had to flee. Those are things that I don't think it's better to leave that type of stuff alone and turn a blind eye to it and say, well, in the name of peace between the two nations, I'm not going to get involved. That's actually not even something that America typically would say. America would say, we will come to the defense of the defenseless, right?
Well, I can't even justify that when the transatlantic slave trade happened here, when there are people being mass incarcerated here, when our government is corrupt, where there are Americans that cannot afford groceries right now, when there are people that are suffering in our own country, but yet we can stand on this moral high ground and say, let me go save Mexico from, I don't give a fuck about a Mexican, pause. And it's not even like as people, like I care about people as people, but before we go to a different country and tell them how they need to do things in a just and or moral way, we have to start here. Facts. And it's not happening here. We have drug lords here. We have a whole crisis with opioids right here with our own drugs. We have people that are strung out. We have vapes being sold to children. There's so much that's happening. Like, I hear you. However, America is not okay. We're not okay enough. That's like a sick lady going to say to another sick lady, like, oh, I'm going to take care of you because you're sicker than I. We're both sick. We both need to sit down and take care of our own shit before we can take care of somebody else's shit. And I don't care how close they are. None of that matters. America is not okay.
So I don't disagree with you in that regard. And again, I am America. Thank you so much. I am America first. I do want us to care about ourselves first. My point in saying that we should take Mexico is just, I think that we should do it. I'm not saying it has to happen tomorrow, next week, next month. I'm not saying that should be our number one priority. I just think that it would make sense for us to do it, especially when we're talking about strategic positioning to help us fight against our larger enemies, which is Russia and China and every Muslim nation, basically.
No, so, what about allyship? Why do you have to take
gonna be
something?
Our ally?
But this is what I'm saying. Why is the thought process, I need to take this other land? We are all a part of North America, Canada, Mexico, and the USA, the three of us. We should be allies. We should be butt buddies at this point. I don't have to take Mexico for Mexico to so I can have better land positioning and I can defend myself.
But you're saying that as if we haven't attempted negotiations
and
to
why
have better
that
alliances.
Happen?
Because they're constantly letting millions of their people come over here illegally. They're constantly they send millions, if not billions of pounds of drugs into this country every year.
Yeah, your president is snorting half of it right now.
Well, he doesn't even drink, so that's a crazy thing to say.
Just because you don't drink don't mean that you don't do other drugs. If I can be a murderer and never have been. No. It's not even that. What I'm saying is, at the end of the day, we do not have the right to say what people can and cannot do, because if you want to be technical, half of America, that whole bottom part that they're running across the border, it used to belong to Mexico anyway. So people are literally just going back to their own place. If you bought a house from me,
should you be able to? If you bought a house from me, should I be able to come in and live there?
First of all,
no, it was purchased.
It was
purchased.
From
End
whom?
of story. From Mexico.
We did not. We purchased it from Spain.
Okay.
We purchased it from Spain.
There's multiple different purchases. Louisiana purchased, yes, and more than that, right?
And then you have manifest destiny, our God-given right to expand westward.
And it worked.
Which God told y'all that?
The one that gave us the land.
No.
What you mean?
God did not give anybody the land.
But it
wasn't a gift from God. God did not say, here you go.
How can you say that you
don't have shit?
How can you suggest?
We don't have a damn thing.
I was just there, baby girl. I'm going back to do another 3 episodes. What are you talking about? I can fly to Mexico. I mean, I can fly to LA without a passport. It is ours. It is America. If we own it, we own it. I don't care how we got it. If we own it, we own it. I don't care how we got it. I don't care because it's ours now. First of all, the majority of the land that America has is purchased land, and some of it has been conquered, absolutely. But
How do
again,
you purchase
ask yourself,
something-
how did Mexico get so big? Ask yourself, what happened to the Mayans?
It got smaller.
It got smaller
Yes.
after it got bigger. It was huge at first. How? You think
Colonization.
You think? Hold on. Stop. Because this is gonna this is where I start getting realistic with people.
Yes.
Let's talk about humans. Okay. There's never been a time where one tribe didn't take over another tribe.
Okay.
That is not something that is inherently evil. It is not something that is inherently just a horrible thing that white people did. If you look at the original territory of any nation, you can watch over the series of centuries as it expands. And it is almost always through some sort of violence.
You're going back
Sure.
to my original point. Since the United Nations was found and after the end of World War II, we, including the United States, agreed that everything that you're talking about is
Yes.
now considered a war crime.
Yes, and I agree with you.
So, especially as a conservative, I would think that you understand and respect law and order, right? And some type of order.
I'll answer your question. You can restate it.
Consider things as war crimes, we can't conveniently Trump, when it's okay for his own personal beliefs to be like, okay, I know this is a war crime, but we're going to do it anyway. So at what point do you stick to the morals and the values that you believe in as a Christian? Or at one point do you be like, all right, you know what? It doesn't matter who dies over there because we're expanding. Like
I hear what you're saying.
You can't toe the line there.
No, there is a line to be told because one, while you're correct about, war crimes in NATO, et cetera, the reality is these other countries do not hold up their end of the bargain. They have been disrespecting the United States since the beginning of that, right? We look at China. There's a whole reason why we're so against China. China, do you know how many American patents China completely rips off?
Do you know how many black patents America ripped off? I don't give a shit.
You should give a shit because
don't.
you just said that it's not just about being Black American or African American being American. So if you care, then you should care about the fact that you, as a Black American, if you invent something and you hold an American patent, someone in China will make the same thing and then sell it for 25 cents and undercut all of your profit.
Yes.
And the reason they can do that is because they have child labor. And we are so good. We're such good guys that we have so many labor laws in this country that we can't use child labor or pay people pennies on the freaking hour. And we cannot. Legally, you cannot. Do people
Would you
do
like
it?
to?
Potentially.
Do you think we should?
Yes.
I think I will say
Yes.
not to get distracted, but I think that we should be. Matter of fact, I'll give you an example of what's actually happening. Florida is now, I don't know if they passed the law or they just introduced a bill to say that they were going to allow people children to work for less than the minimum wage if they want to.
Yeah.
Here's what I think about the minimum wage. Democrats consistently
Do you
scream.
believe in child labor?
Yes.
No. I think
Let her answer the question.
I think child labor is something that is horrible. And I also think that it's funny that most people are against child labor until you see the Mexican lady walking with her baby on her back and her little 3-year-old selling chicle, dulce in the train station here, right? No one cares about those children when they're in child labor. No one cares about the illegal migrants, and that's what frustrates me about this whole conversation.
The Mexican lady selling the oranges, not the child.
Yes.
The child, I have a video on my phone right now. When's the last time you've been in the train? These kids are coming by. Okay. Go to the train.
Thank
Go
God.
to the train.
They're just
These
helping.
kids, they're just helping.
Just like the Chinese kids in the Chinese restaurant.
Exactly. Where's the child labor laws for that? How is this kid doing his homework, sitting at the front door and taking your order, taking your money? That's work. He's doing work. We care about these children, child labor laws until it comes to illegal migrants. Then we turn a blind eye.
Well, that's
and my
your own
frustration
child.
in general.
Right, it's your child,
I'm
not
not
somebody else.
child.
You can't employ somebody else's
Yeah,
child.
like I can
So-
get my
so
kid
what
to
is
help
the
me with
difference?
something.
I think father and son's trade. I think that's a part of American history. I think
Yes.
we've
I
always
think
always
that
done
farming
I
and
think
all
that
of that.
Trade.
you're making very aggressive assumptions that it's only happening,
no, I'm not.
parent to child. Obviously, it could be, but that's not the case.
Well, what we're
And,
talking
hold
about
on, really
is
quickly.
something that is very much part of American history. Before big business, there were father and son stores, father and son
Sure, and that's why-
trades.
and that's why
if
conservatives are
if I
not-
see that, pardon me. if I see that, it doesn't bother me to see a child working with their family to build a family business or to learn a trade. It doesn't bother me, and I don't look at it the same way as me paying somebody or 10 kids in the back of a sweatshop $3 and taking advantage of them because they don't have real agency over their bodies.
$3 in the back of a sweatshop, it's different because it's your child.
We're conflating.
No, we're not conflating. Here's my point. My point is
now that's allowance.
Now it's allowance.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing as having your kids work in the house.
I want to let's take a beat.
I just want to quickly note that there was a ICE raid on a farm in California where they found 20 or so children working, underage children, not working for their parents, working in fields.
I wonder why.
We can't really talk about underage children when your president is part of the Epstein file investigation.
His name in there.
For those that are interested, the Jubilee episode that I just did where I debated Ro Khanna, who wrote the Epstein Transparency Act, that episode just dropped. Feel free to see me.
We would love to see that.
Talk about this and dismantle this silly claim that Trump had anything to do with those children just because he's listed in the files. Because I will let you know that Obama is listed in the files as well.
Yeah, that man was president 20 years ago. Nobody cared about Obama.
Revisit that in part 2 of this episode. How can people find you? They've listened to this part of the episode and they really want to come and watch your content again
and argue with me in the comments.
Well, that's what you do, and I mean that's what they do, and I think you know that, and you love the game. I think you love this game, so please tell them where to find you.
Absolutely. Instagram, the word hashtag spelled out _Marien Marien. YouTube, it's hashtag Marien, just one word straight across. And I want to be clear, you're welcome to come talk to me. You're welcome to come discuss with me. Do yourself a favor and actually watch my content first so that you can maybe get a longer than 1 hour understanding of who I am and the things that I believe. And also don't feel upset when I do not respond because I don't care.
Well, you're gonna if you don't mind, we got another hour.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
We're just gonna take a break and go into part 2 right after this. You already know you can watch the full episode on our Patreon right now. No ads, ad free on our Patreon, patreon.com/So Shameless Podcast. I am loving this episode.
This is so much fun.
I'm loving the information.
Tired of relationships.
Yes, please. You can go take a break.
It is fun.
We will be back, or you can listen to part 2 this Thursday.
Oh.
Peace.
Yay. The color of nature.
Just lean into it.
Green for real?
Yeah.
She said that.
Yeah.
Just lean into it. It's all right.
I don't align with Slytherin at all. You know, it sounds. I love talking about this stuff because I know that it sounds intense and it sounds like I just want to, be this warlord that just does all these things.
Absolutely.
But I disagree. I find that in my suggestions, it's really just coming from a place of saying, you know what, there is so much wrong in this world. And looking at it with rose-colored glasses is not going to help us.
I agree.
And the way that we fix these things is by being realistic about what has to happen to actually get them fixed. That's the way I look at it.
But it's also looking at it like, let's be the best of the worst.
Yeah.
Like
I disagree.
So instead of, United States has always been somewhat of a global leader. And to Daj's point, kind of the people that police the world, right? America has the ability to shape certain things in global conflicts, and we've often taken a position of being the absolute worst when we could, in fact, be more diplomatic.
What do you, in what regard? Like, let's even, if we talk about what's going on in Iran or, talk about our interference with, let's say Iran, right?
Yes.
And how do we get more diplomatic with people that we've been attempting to negotiate with for 40 years, who refuse to give us what we need?
I'm trying not to disrupt you. Better?
Who refuse to get this? It's just so close.
Yeah,
Okay. Just like,
but just talk into it.
Okay.
No, you're good.
It's okay?
Yeah.
Okay. But, Iran refuses to give up
concede,
but also to give up its capability for creating nukes. It also is the biggest sponsor of terrorist organizations, including Hezbollah and Hamas. Because the entire purpose of Hezbollah is to fight against the United States and any type of Western culture.
Right.
So why would I allow anyone that hates me the opportunity to build the biggest weapons it can?
The word allow is problematic.
Allow is
right?
nuts.
The fact that the United States is capable, the fact that Israel has nukes, the fact that a lot of these other white nations have nukes. But
they don't hate
anytime,
us.
are there any black and brown nations that
Nope.
are allowed, quote unquote, to have nukes?
Nope.
First of all, I don't want them to have nukes.
That's
I
not my
don't.
question.
That
though.
wasn't the question.
Are there any black and brown countries?
That's a good question. I would have to look into
The answer is
that.
no. I've looked into
Okay.
it. And so, and then you label them as terrorists, right?
Hezbollah is a
Hezbollah.
terrorist organization, for sure.
Do you agree that the United States has carried on many terrorist acts, and probably more so than Iran? By the definition of what terrorism is.
I think we've carried out acts of war. I don't think that I would call them terrorism.
Do you know the definition of terrorism?
No, you can give me the formal definition.
We'll look it up.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think the difference is between terrorism and an act of war?
So terrorism is an intentional harming of a people based on an ideology.
KKK, we have the homegrown terrorists, got the Proud Boys. Shout out to them. So we are a terroristic nation within ourselves, but we want to go and tell another terrorist that they can't be a terrorist, but we never got rid of KKK. We have the Proud Boys running around here doing whatever the fuck they want to do, and that's okay. So it's okay when it's here, but if it's over there, it's not okay.
Well, one,
ICE
it's
is a
not
terrorist
okay.
organization.
I didn't want to take it there, but I was
It's
about
not
to.
okay though, because
Definitely.
if you hear of, hold on really quickly,
Okay.
it's not okay because we know that if we see the KKK lynching people, we stop them and we hold them accountable.
Who? In what American history? We have
There
grand
is-
masters
it
in the
literally
Senate right
stops.
now.
You cannot lynch someone right now. It is not
people-
allowed. If it happens, they will come and get you.
No, if it happens, they will say that it was a suicide. They will say that the black men that are hanging themselves from trees by themselves because it has happened.
I hear what you're
Recently.
saying in regards to that. That was a specific case. Give me a moment because I cannot remember
That's
the
fine.
exact reason. I know that I figured out, or I did the research on this. I just can't remember exactly what it was, but it was not a racial attack. It wasn't. It wasn't.
Black people
we have to,
do
you're
not
welcome to pull
hang
up your
themselves on trees. It is very difficult to hang yourself, period, but to hang yourself specifically from a tree.
Well, you're
by
aware that the
yourself.
second man was not white and was not black? You're aware that the second person that was found hung was actually white?
Listen, a lynching is
But
a
are
lynching.
you aware of that though? Because I think
No.
that is important to note. Because if we're going to call it a KKK racially based attack, then we must assume that both victims were black, but the second person was not black.
I
it was
didn't
a
say
white
that.
man.
I said that the KKK is a terroristic organization, and you said that basically that we don't condone terrorism and lynchings, and that those people will be like stopped and prosecuted. However, we know that systemically and historically that has not happened. Like in this country, there are people that have been lynched and those lynchers have never been prosecuted. They have never went to jail. They have never atoned for, but the KKK still exists. Sundown towns still exist in this country right now.
Sundown towns are in East New York right now.
All right.
Sundown towns are in Brownsville right now. So
And
why
that's
don't we
why
talk
America is
about
ghetto.
sundown towns are in Chicago right now?
Okay.
Chicago had 300 plus shootings in the last 4 months.
And again, America
so
needs
worried
to
about
deal
the
with
KKK.
America before you're talking about a terroristic
Well, I
organization.
agree with you, but let's talk
in
about
Iran.
when are these local governments? Because if we want to talk about actually dealing with the United States, you're aware that President Trump has deployed the National Guard to multiple cities and has extremely driven down the death rate in those cities. We see that for the first time in years, DC had over a 2-week span of no homicides at all, thanks to the National Guard being deployed. And he offered to deploy the National Guard to Chicago. The Chicago mayor said absolutely not.
Yeah.
And since he said absolutely not, over something like 600 shootings have happened with dozens of deaths. So the question is, if we want to be America first, why do Democrats keep getting in the way of that? that? Why won't they allow the president to actually help? If we care,
there's a humanism side of it. There's so many different sides, because you and your correlation of sundown towns being like the hoods and like the hoods of America.
It's anywhere that you can't go safely after dark.
But you can, because I lived in Brownsville. I've lived in East New York. I'm still here. I'm alive. We're fine.
I've lived in Bed-Stuy, etc., in Flatbush. But my point is, if we're talking about a place where you are more in danger after dark, we have to acknowledge that should include the hood. And as a black and brown person, we are actually more in danger when we go to the hood than when we go to some, honky-tonk town out in West Bowl, whatever, America.
Well, I don't think that's true.
Trump had
the definition of terrorism.
The definition of terrorism. He's pulled it up.
Yeah, I know we could go on so many different tangents.
They are throwing that ball back and forth, child.
So
it's fun. I
appreciate this.
I like
terrorism, the systematic use of terror, especially as a means of coercion. So obviously we got to break down what terror means, because terrorism is the systematic use of terror, especially as a means of coercion, right? So terror, violence or the threat of violence used as a weapon of intimidation or coercion. Especially violent or destructive acts, such as bombing, committed by groups in order to intimidate a population or government into granting their demands.
Yep.
By definition, the United States
is a terrorist regime.
I mean, recently, Iran, Venezuela.
Sure.
They bombed
Libya,
we bombed our own country.
Syria,
remember what they did in Philly?
Iraq.
Okay, so while I hear what you're saying, and I don't disagree with you, like if we're using the technical term, then sure, I will give you that. What I would only submit to you is that if we are going to be considered a terrorist organization, we have to acknowledge who we're being terroristic to. Because every single name that you just mentioned is a horrible place.
Oh, there's time out. So hold on.
Iran, Afghanistan.
You can't say that.
Would you go as a woman? Would you take your daughter? Would you take your daughter? Hold on. Would you take your daughter to Afghanistan?
Y'all going off on a tangent.
Hold on.
No, because
I'll
we
answer
need to
that question.
acknowledge this.
I will answer that question.
We need to acknowledge
I'm gonna let Tron go.
Who we're talking about here.
All right, I'm gonna be very honest with you. I will bring my daughter wherever I want to go. Wherever I want to go. I don't want to go to Afghanistan.
Why not?
I do not want to go.
It's a beautiful place. It's lovely. They're so nice.
I could tell you all the reasons.
They're so great.
Why.
You could dress like this there. They wouldn't throw you off a building.
They're not going to throw me off a building because I am a fucking tourist. I'm not from there. That's number one. They're not going to throw me off a building.
You will get thrown in jail.
I'm not going to jail.
In Afghanistan for not wearing a hijab as a woman. They don't care if you're a tourist.
And if I am a part of,
they don't care if you're a
I'm
tourist.
going to somebody else's country, the same way if I walk into somebody else's house, I will abide by the rules of that person's house. So if I have to wear a hijab,
illegal immigration.
At the end of the day, I don't want to fly anywhere longer than maybe 8 hours. So I'm never going over there, period.
That's
if my
convenient.
child wants to go, it's not even that it's convenient. It's just the truth. Answer. So here's the funny thing. Me and my husband was just having a conversation today about Thailand.
Trauma had a point.
Go ahead.
That he was trying to make.
Sorry.
Apologies.
So
I'm sorry, ladies.
No, it's fine.
I'm just sitting here listening.
A couple of quick points, and y'all can get back at it. A couple of quick points. So one, you can't be like, these are terrible countries and put that label, because that is clearly subjective, right? Any of those countries could be like United States, Trump is terrible, MAGA's terrible, let's go do whatever the fuck we want and justify it, right?
But that's what they do.
Well, so let me finish my point. My whole point in mentioning this and your use of the word terrorism, that word is used a lot to justify what we do. And if you use that word can be used now by other countries
against
to
us.
Justify what they do against us.
Yep.
And they do.
So again, my whole point is you're trying to act as if United States is this moral high ground country, but we are actually practicing being the best of the worst.
Okay.
And as a moral person, as a person of God that you are, I need you to understand the irony in what you're saying here. And that's what
I hear
my
what you're
point.
saying.
So we can't throw around the word terrorist and terrorism as a way to dehumanize the other side and justify
I'm not
what we're
dehumanizing.
doing.
I'm acknowledging truth. So what's going to frustrate me about this is, and I hear what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with you. As I said, it's not like America is out here bombing New Zealand, right? We're not bombing,
Or Greenland, right?
The places that we want.
We are not bombing Greenland.
But we
have threatened
right.
to use force.
For no reason.
It's not for no
That's
reason.
terrorism.
Greenland don't fuck with nobody.
Like literally,
Like,
we just. I'm sorry to cut you off, but we literally just defined terrorism,
Yep.
and the threat of it is terrorism.
Okay, so
why are we threatening Greenland?
Because we want their land.
Are you aware of the circumstances? I just talked
Yeah,
about this
we can't. But the idea of taking
You just want to take everybody's
just because you can.
No, we're talking.
It's
So
crazy.
you're
That's
America
actually
first.
like when we talk about grape, right? When we're talking about what men can do to women, right? We're talking about understanding
Just 'cause we can.
What?
Yep.
Yo, I can.
I could do that shit. I want that shit, and I'm gonna take that shit.
There's such a big difference in that entire conversation there.
It's not.
There's a very big difference. So
Tell
the
that
difference
to
is
people
this.
whose
The
mothers
difference
and families die in a bomb when we bomb them because we want them to follow what we want. Just because
But again,
we want
it's not just us saying, "Hey, you should allow women to wear shorts, and if you don't, we're going to bomb you." That we're not talking about
that's
that.
not what I was saying
everyone that he mentioned, Syria, etc.,
Oh, there's
has
a lot
been
more.
a direct threat to America and has been known to attack America. So again, we might be considered terrorists to the people that intentionally make us their target. So if I am against you, if you're against me and I'm against you, or you're against me, you show up with a gun. Should I not get a gun? Should I not if you draw your gun at me, should I not draw my gun back at you? The point I'm making here is that we can call it terrorism because it's technically within the definition, sure, but I would call it defense. I really would, because they hate us. I need you to understand Hezbollah. The three major points of Hezbollah is to spread Islam. That's reason number one, to spread Islam, to fight against the Western culture, and to eliminate Israel. That's the three major points, to eliminate Israel. So when you see Israel,
They got a hat?
bombing against, that's crazy. See, but then I'm a bad guy. I'm the bad guy.
I'm the Slytherin. You want to be a Gryffindor.
I'm not
I'm okay with being
Slytherin.
a bad guy.
Yo,
I'm totally
that's crazy.
okay
What
with
do you
being a
have
bad
against
guy.
Israel, bro.
What do we have?
We're not
against
going to do this
Israel?
right now.
No,
actually.
we can't.
I don't want
I'm
you to
not
get
doing
flagged.
it.
I don't want you to get shadow
not-
banned.
Yeah, I actually will not do it. How about this? I
is
want
that
to
a
go
thing
back.
for real?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
it's
thing.
a
Yeah.
thing.
cannot speak on
No, you can't say, because them. But anyway, let's go back to the one question I want you to answer.
That's crazy.
We're gonna take
But
it back.
really quick.
No, you
No. This is a
doing
genuine
that.
question. Really quickly. I haven't asked any questions yet today, right? So my one question:
Go ahead.
would you guys feel better in a country that is not
A warmonger?
proactive about stopping our enemies in their tracks? Would it be better if they made it to our lands and we saw these wars that are happening there if they were happening here?
For me, I think that's a layered question. I think because if you look at the instability in Iran, America had its hand in that.
Yes.
If you look at all of the things and the people that have this hate towards us, it's because America's had that hand towards us.
Yep.
And it's largely because of economic reasons that America wants to build or own, or like they're literally taking from other places
Resources.
and then just say, y'all want to hurt us. Yeah, nigga, you came over here, you built mad war things around us.
Yep.
You sanction us, you do what you can. You went to
Why did they
Venezuela.
get sanctioned?
You went to Venezuela.
Do you know?
You took the president,
finish?
fine, right?
Sure.
You took the president, but then you just start siphoning their oil, their reserves. You just start siphoning from their
taking
economic capacity. It's just like, why wouldn't they hate us? So
Venezuelans love Trump for that, right? You're aware that they were they're parading in the streets. I went to the parade, not parade, but the gathering, the protest. It was a one side was anti-Trump and the other side was the side full of actual Venezuelans praising Trump. And I have that video on my page. You can go see it. The people of Venezuela were tired of a man who, y'all are screaming no kings. This dictator, Maduro, had been in power for 33 years. You understand?
They should have
the
handled their own business.
Venezuelans here could not go home because of his he is a political tyrant. He was literally killing people that protested against him. I met multiple people that had photos of the abuse that they sustained while being tortured by him because they protested against him. Meanwhile, we have everyone protesting against Donald Trump because kings don't let you protest
I think Trump
against
is doing
them.
the same thing. He's just not there yet.
Well, I have a question.
he's
Are
in
they
his
going to go
first-
back now? Now that he gone and they were so happy that they going to pick up and leave?
You know
they
why
should, right?
What
Did
they're
you tell
saying?
them?
What
Tell
they're
them to
saying
beat
is
it.
they need to make sure that Maduro's team is no longer there, and that's
and then
a real
go
thing.
back.
Because when you take out a dictator, there's still a team of people that were making it happen for him.
But when are they leaving?
Because
they're refugees. Technically, they're refugees. They came here because their country was unstable
and want to stay here.
But that's the whole premise of America, right? People don't just, like Trump said earlier, they don't just come here because America is the best place in the world.
Yes,
they come here because they are escaping what they have and what is going on in their own country. So with that, if that's the situation, they should go back. So that means that all of the Europeans, they should go back too. Europe is chilling. Pack it up. The only people that should
by Muslims.
The only people that should be here are Black people and Native Americans. Everybody pack it up.
One of the comments said, yo, if somebody came and took our president, we'd be dancing in the streets too.
Yeah.
You know why? Because you're a bunch of crybabies who can't handle when someone is actually an elected president that more than half of the country agrees with. So you go and cry about how he's a dictator. Meanwhile, if you did that in any other country with an actual dictator, you would not be alive. So people that are saying that, they are literal crybabies. And I won't say don't respect you, but I think you need to be realistic about how much of a little whiny crybaby you are. You are in the best country in the world that allows you to complain about the president on the internet. Try that in North Korea.
I think
the
more literal crybabies describe the insurrectionists from January 6th.
Come on, get out of my head, Trump. Let's talk about it.
Physically taking
little fucking crybabies.
What you're saying into physical action instead of just talking.
Took it right out my head.
Look, the January 6th thing is actually, we don't need to segue, but I need people to look into what Nancy Pelosi admitted as far as her involvement and her lack of positioning Capitol Police at the building in spite of what Trump told
so wait,
her to
you
do.
you just blame Nancy Pelosi for the insurrection that Trump and Giuliani fanned the flames for?
Are you aware that Bloomberg the radio station, not the radio station, but not Bloomberg, BBC. Are you aware that BBC now has to pay Donald Trump hundreds of millions of dollars because the way that they edited his speech made it seem like he inflamed them, but he actually didn't?
Your boy said that he was headed down there with the people and never showed up. He literally said that word for word, bar for bar.
My love, if you look at the original if you look at the actual speech that comes from, he says one portion and then an hour later he says a different portion, and BBC compiled them together. I'm not joking. You can look this up right now. It is an active case that Trump won. So when we talk about whether or not he was the one that incited an insurrection, it is very simply he did not do that.
So why did they all go?
They all went because they all went. Because
why didn't he tell them to stop?
Why are people jumping in the middle of ICE raids and jumping in front of ICE agents? Because people are acting on their own. You can't say that because we have Kamala Harris saying fight against ICE and we have Ilhan Omar saying fight against ICE means that they told Renee Good to try and run someone over with her car, or they told Alex Preddy to go down there with a gun and stand in people's faces. What these politicians are doing on stage, as far as speaking passionately and saying you need to be stand firm in what you believe in, versus what people end up doing. If you're going to call it inciting a riot, then we need to hold every single Democrat accountable that has ever said fight against the man, fight against the system, fight against ICE.
No.
They're doing it every day.
You have to understand the grassroots of the insurrection is the whole thing. This whole stop the steal. I really won this election. You guys, they're trying to take it away from me. You're literally stoking your base and saying they went against me. They cheated me out of this election and we need to go and do something about it. The insurrection was treasonous, full stop, period. Back to the question that I want to ask you, because I'm going to answer it first. Seeing the Confederate flag in the hands of an American in the middle of a treasonous act in our state capital is absolutely disgusting and despicable. So when we talk about that whole America First that I have, because I'm really a history buff, that shit is nasty. The fact that the Confederate flag even hangs anywhere is disgusting. We are a nation that celebrates losers as long as they're racist and have enough money to be a loser. And that shit is nasty. Donald Trump was a loser and he did not like being a loser, so that he went and he tried to start a a coup himself, and then it failed. The only people that Donald Trump has ever won against are women. So he is on top of that just a big ass bully, if you want to take it there. But I'm gonna stop right there. Where is your line? Where is your line for him? Okay. There has to be a line.
Okay. So you made a lot of points.
I did.
And for the sole purpose of me actually answering your where is the line question, I'm not going to address all of the previous points. Don't. I will simply say you should really look into the, not cases, but look into the instances of voter fraud that have been revealed, and then ask yourself if he was making this up. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to, then people at home, you're welcome to look into it and post it in the comments, post the links in the comments, because it's real. That said, when it comes to my line on Donald Trump, what I have found is that so many people forget that this man has always been a well-known public figure, right? We've known about Trump for generations at this point, and it is only when he started to run for president that instantly somehow so many people didn't like him.
Not true.
That is absolutely true.
He tried to run in the 80s.
Yeah.
People still like, right. We didn't have, there's no
you didn't
beef.
see an entire slander campaign come against him.
No, it's not, but that's not it. It wasn't until he decided to run for president. That wasn't it. It was the things that he said and he did and the way that he went about it. That is what made people not like him, but that also made some people like him. At the end of the day, we're talking about the highest office in the land, in this country. We take it back to America first.
And that's why
we're talking about an
adulterer.
We're talking about somebody that married not one but two foreign people, immigrants themselves. Exactly. He brought them from another country, which is crazy. No, because he only likes a certain archetype, those Ellis Island types, because his own grandfather was an immigrant and came into this country illegally. So how dare you have the stance that you have? So let's talk about it, because if it's one thing I understand and I see both sides of, I research both sides. I am not all the way one way or all the way the other. I'm going to be honest about what it is. He is a liar.
I can't call you honest,
but
because
he's
you're
a liar.
Biased, and
I'm not biased.
I don't see an honesty coming. I see an understanding of one portion of this debate about Trump, because what I would say is in regards to claiming, people don't like the way that he speaks, et cetera, et cetera.
I don't care about the way that he speaks. I care about the fact that he's an adulterer. I care about the fact that he's a felon.
Do you care about that?
No, I do, because as a president of the United States, no, stop.
You don't like 50 Cent.
These are not my president. And this is what we're talking about. We're talking about America first. I feel like
Clinton
politics.
You
Fuck
hated
Bill Clinton.
You hated him.
I can't
the
hate
moment
him.
that you heard about it, you were like,
I cannot hate
someone
him.
kill him. He's a horrible person.
No, I can't hate him because when he was president, I was 7. I don't give a fuck.
He also did it. He also was an actual adulterer in the midst of his presidency. Donald Trump has been with his wife for 20 years now.
And
he has been with this woman for 20 years.
He's been with her for 20 years and was sleeping with a prostitute and was lying about sleeping with a prostitute, paid off a prostitute. We're talking about somebody, as a mother of a girl, that's talking about grabbing girls by the pussy. We're talking about somebody that feels like it's okay to walk into a dressing room where naked women.
I hear what you're saying, and I see where this conversation is going. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to
go ahead.
Reclaim my time.
Oh, come on,
Maxine, auntie. I'm also going to.
Now Maxine would not fuck with you.
She's a great grandma at this point, not an auntie.
She would not.
She needs to go to sleep, but. I'm going to reclaim my time and just give you my reasons very quickly why those things that you're bringing up about Trump do not bother me. Okay?
Tell me.
One, the grab him by the pee, right? What people don't understand is the context of the conversation that he was having in that moment.
Don't justify it.
No, hear me. Because I guarantee you said you have a podcast talking about sex, guarantee you said worse things than what this man said. What he actually said.
I've never spoken about violating a woman's agency of her
body.
But
here's what Trump actually said, because he didn't actually say you should go and do this thing.
He said you can.
What he said.
And I've have.
And here's he didn't say I have.
But no, he didn't say that. No, he did.
He did not
to
say
Stormy
and
Daniels.
Okay,
that's the whole premise of the lawsuit.
Hear me. One, what Trump actually said was he was speaking about the state of women in this clout chasing, gold digger demographic.
Yes.
Right? And he was like, these girls are such hoes that you could grab them by the pee if you wanted to. This is what he said. He didn't say, go do that. He was expressing that.
Very, very presidential.
But he wasn't the president at the time.
But he was running. But he was
he
running.
Was not running when he said that.
No, he was running.
That came out during
when
his
he was
run
running.
because people wanted to slander him. They wanted you to see him in this horrible light.
But they do that to every politician.
But prior to that, we love this guy. He had every black celebrity loved Trump. Oprah was one of his best friends. One of his best friends. These are facts.
He used to be in rap songs.
Yes, he did.
He was on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
You can't say everybody loved Trump.
They
I think that there was
because
there is this celebrity idolization in America that is like a thing.
He was a homie. He was the homie. First of all, Trump is from New York. So to assume that he's so racist, he would have left New York a long time ago. This is the one place you cannot avoid black people. Please.
He was an entertainer. He was a reality star.
Yes.
People love Larry Bird because he's a great
Trump
basketball.
was actually close. Like, he was actually very cool with Jesse Jackson. That's a whole conversation.
Again,
until he started
Just-
spewing, until he turned into Roger Stone's puppet. When he turned into Roger Stone's puppet, that's when everything went downhill. Because even the whole Make America Great Again, that is not his thing. That is from Reagan, i.e. from Roger Stone. We're talking about, it's bigger than Donald Trump. He is the front man or the talking piece of people that are worse than him. And at the end of the day, when we're talking about things that are presidential and we're talking about people that are supposed to represent our country, there is some type of moral fiber that you should have, and there is a code. There is some type of ethics. Like I miss the America where a Republican and a Democrat can sit on a couch and have a debate and it be mutually respectful, and we're not saying anything disparaging about each other, anything about our families, our thing.
And
that does not exist anymore. There's no
started to run, but when Donald Trump started to run, that's what the left did to him. The same thing that you're saying you don't like to see. These people slandered this man in every possible way
by telling truths.
It was not truths. This is what frustrates me about it. If you look into the actualities of even the women that supposedly came forward and said all this. A lot of them were discredited. A lot of them were deeply discredited. A lot of them were lying about even the place that they said that they met this man. Also, again, I will remind you, not only has Donald Trump been a socialite, been a celebrity, he's been a ultra rich person for decades.
Right.
Decades. So the people that he is in the same space with, the stuff that those people just, their regular everyday lives, the parties. Think about the Diddy white parties. Think about that. Okay?
Yeah, he was there.
This is he wasn't though. This is what I'm saying.
I saw pictures of Donald Trump partying with Diddy and all of them.
At the white party is different than being with Diddy at an event that was someone else's party.
Yeah,
that's a different thing. The white party, the freak offs, Donald Trump was not in no freak off. Okay? My point is very simply, when you look at someone that had been in Hollywood and had, again, no political leanings at the time, he was just a businessman who was super rich, who had a bunch of girls around him. You understand?
Let me ask questions here.
She still didn't answer my question.
Y'all been going back and forth. Yeah. Trum's neck is hurting. He's holding this shit up with his arm. I'm just trying to take in all of the information that I'm getting, because you got a history buff here, and you as well. You guys are very knowledgeable. I do think that people want to know, how can you be pro-black as a black woman and be MAGA?
Yeah. I mean, so I say like this. When I say MAGA, you can put a silent B in there, because I'm saying make Black America great again, okay? There was a time, a few generations back, where we had more Black marriages that were successful. We had children being raised in far more nuclear families where father and mother were together. We had more church attendance. We had actually, per capita, more Black businesses, right? We owned our own businesses far more. Now we're running off to work at every white man's company that we can, screaming about microaggressions because someone doesn't like our hair. But before, that wasn't a problem because we hired within ourselves. We had Black neighborhoods that were thriving, that were surviving, and focused inward. We had less Black people on drugs. We had less Black women doing prostitution. We had less Black men incarcerated. We had less, homelessness within the Black community. A lot of those things, believe it or not, they deteriorated because of Democrat policies.
No.
Yes, ma'am. Look into, babe, who created public housing? Do you know?
Before that.
Who created public? No, it's not before.
No. Before we get to public housing, before we get to that, we have to talk about the Great Migration and a lot of things that stopped what we're talking about, this nuclear black family and all of us being together and we was chilling and it was all kumbaya. We have to talk about Jim Crow laws. Jim Crow laws is what forced black people out of the South, which forced black people away from this family and these communities that we built. That is the case when you have that mass flight, when you have the Great Migration of black people that moved up north
together to another place up north. That's why we have Harlem Renaissance. That's why we
yes, we have.
Let each other speak. Y'all gotta let each other speak.
Yes and no.
She's just making stuff up.
I'm
and
not.
I say that with respect. Like you can't. No, you can't just say things that are technically true, but not fully true.
Well, I didn't finish the thought for it to be fully true.
But again, it was a great migration that did not separate families. It was a great migration where families and full communities moved together.
I didn't get there yet. Yes, we did move together, but we moved up north, and we moved up north to what? To redlining, to ghettos, to more laws. We moved up north where black people, it was very difficult for us to actually get certain jobs. We moved up north when we moved into communities that it was hard for us to get the loans for us to start our businesses that we had. We were doing better in certain sectors. There were certain sectors that were doing better than others, but you have to name what it is. If it wasn't for racism, if it wasn't for racism and it wasn't for Jim Crow laws in the South, most black people would have been able to stay in those affluent communities. We were not just escaping just to escape. We were escaping persecution in the terroristic state that is America. That's what happened. And then when black people got too much power, when we got too smart, when we were doing too much, what did they start doing? That's when you have the lynchings. That's when you have the bombings of entire black communities. That's when you have you have highways being built over black communities. You have whole black communities that literally people were forced out of their homes, that they turned into lakes and national parks and all of that. Black people have tried time and time and time again to lift ourselves up from these theoretical bootstraps. And every time we do a little bit more than white people or make it a little bit further, they get upset. They bomb their own people. They destroy their own communities. That's what happened. If America wasn't a racist, terroristic society and country, black people would have been perfectly fine where we were doing the things that you are saying that we did, and they did matter. The nuclear family did matter. You're talking about Democrats in the government breaking up black families. Yes, I will. But we're talking about how the Democrats broke up black families. These are lawmakers, mostly white lawmakers in this very country that did these racist things. So you cannot say that. I cannot allow that to happen.
Mary, let's talk real quickly. Marian, you talk a lot. You talk a lot as well.
Facts.
We all got to respect each other, right? And as much as we respect you, this is one of the hosts of the show.
No,
you understand
absolutely.
what I'm saying? She's doing a lot. You guys are both me and Trum's just sitting here. I don't, nigga, this is my shit, and I ain't said but 17 words the whole time. So what I would ask, and you said that you're a great debater.
Yeah.
Dodge, and I'm speaking to y'all both. I may be speaking to Marian, but I'm speaking to y'all both.
No, I'm listening.
Let's let a person finish their thoughts, and if there are lies or any type of things where you need to, retort, let them finish, right? And
come on, moderator.
Let's be respectful with the way, like, yo, you gotta let me talk. Like, this her shit. You know what I mean? We have to.
I agree. What I would say is just that it's difficult when people go on for quite a while.
Trust me, I deal with it all the time. I understand. Trust me, I understand.
Only because there's so many points brought up. You know what I mean? And it's hard to then retort without also going on a longer tangent.
Well,
go ahead, tangent it up.
And I have to point out that I was actually in the middle of speaking when you started speaking.
Well, y'all been cutting each other off the whole time.
Right. Yeah. Which, again, so I'm not offended by that. I don't have an issue with it. Yeah. Okay. All right. Just making sure, like, I'm very chill about it. But the thing that is difficult for me, and I hear what you're saying, and you're not making a wrong claim. I just think you're making an incomplete claim. What frustrates me is that people ignore the realities of the totality of the changes that have happened towards the Black community, right? So, one, great migration, absolutely. But then again, we did settle into our own neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. Redlining, funny enough, I'm a real estate agent, right? I'm very aware of what redlining is. The way I look at it, though, is that when you have redlining, you literally are telling people to keep living amongst each other. That's actually probably a better thing. When we decided, oh, we need to be included, we want we want to be desegregated. What happened? Now the standard of what a black family looks for is a white standard. Now I'm not happy with my black neighborhood. I'm trying to go over there. I want to go past the fence. I'm not happy working in my black person's community or working for the black person in their job, in their company that they've built because they can only pay me so much.
I want to cut you off.
Yo, me too. But
me too.
My point. My point is
that
very
shit
simply,
is tough.
We got told as a black community, we were told that what we've built for ourselves is not good enough. So when we have desegregation happen, we see black people and think about this, our top minds, our smartest black people, they're no longer going to Howard. They're no longer going to Hampton. Now they want to go to Harvard and Princeton because that's the bigger fish to them, right? My way of looking at it, again, when I say make Black America better or make Black America great again, I'm talking about a time where we focus inward and we also kept ourselves inward. We fed each other with our money. Mm-hmm. You didn't have to remind somebody, shop black, make sure you shop black. That was our only option. And we were happy to do it, right? We went to our schools where black teachers taught black kids. You know what happened when they desegregated the schools? Black teachers lost jobs because black schools were no longer being attended. So black teachers got fired. And we had little black kids like my father, who was the first to desegregate a white school for his, I believe, middle school, have the teacher to assume that he couldn't read.
Stupid. Yeah,
exactly.
I
so
agree.
my point is, again, what you're saying is correct. And I will never disagree or pretend. It's impossible to pretend that there wasn't an intentional attack against the black community. But what I'm saying is we were stronger when we had only ourselves to lean on.
Better together.
But now, thanks to Democrat policies, thanks to Democrats saying, oh, it's the government's job to come in and take care of the black community, thanks to things like public housing, thanks to things like not just Section 8, SNAP and EBT. Oh, now it's more beneficial for a black woman to not have her husband at home because now I can get money from the government to take care of these kids instead of my husband who should be helping with these bills, right? Now we have a culture that has been taught to lean on the government and create or use the government as its primary financial,
Are you
resource.
talking about Jewish people?
That's what it sounds like.
The thing with Jewish people, you're not going to get me to disagree with you.
From what I know,
But-
they use it way more than us.
But
Facts.
they stay together. They are playing the system. I agree with you.
Yes,
I know
they
that's
are.
a fact, but the father's still in the home. They got 5, 6, 7 kids. Mom and dad are both together and they're playing this system. And someone should go read on how they're getting it done because I respect
They are
it.
doing it. I do too.
But my
I do
point
too.
is we
I do
still
too.
have a nuclear family. They still have a nuclear family. They because they put community over everything else. They don't care about going to a white man's job.
Can you bring it back to black people? I'm tired of talking about Caucasians.
They don't put community. They put their religion above everything.
Their religion is their community.
Well, it's the religion. It's not.
it's a
the
religion,
reason they
but
have a
it's-
community is because they populate near their mosque or near their temple.
But they
it's not
also-
because they actually form community with.
They really do. I've lived in Midwood. I've lived in
So have I.
now I'm living in Coney Island. I have lived in places where ouch.
Yo, and shout out to the Jewish communities in Brooklyn.
Right, like,
we
they're
have some
out
great
here.
Jewish communities in Brooklyn.
Yeah, don't
I
get
will
it
say
twisted.
that. I will say that,
When I
for
say
sure.
community, these people, first of all, they still have arranged marriages. Like they are so ingrained that they don't even
That's
take
kinda
the
crazy.
chance.
That's fucking creepy, actually.
Hey, if it works.
That's
I
kinda
want you
crazy.
to finish your argument, but I would love, can you please add mass incarceration to your argument because that is a point that we're missing, and I think that
the
we have
government
to
flooding drugs into the black community.
absolutely.
Yeah, but let's talk
we
about
have
which
to-
government that was. You're saying
the
it's a
war on
Republican
drugs.
government?
Who
That was
Reagan?
The United States
It
government.
was Reagan. It was Reagan. He's the one that did the war on drugs. He's the one that sat there and said, you had Pablo Escobar taking pictures outside of the White House when they was looking for him. Wasn't that Reagan? Am I bugging?
I want to be clear. This is not a Democrat versus Republican.
It's not.
I know you have those debates often. This is not that conversation. We're talking about the United States government.
Right. Okay, because fuck them. This is what I'm saying. At the end of the day, we have to bring that in, because before the government can say it's better for the man not to be in a house, before you could talk about SNAP and WIC and we could talk about public housing and stuff like that, we have to also understand the generations of families that lost Black men in their family due to mass incarceration, due to unfair drug laws, due to the 93 crime bill and all the rest of this other stupid shit that actually pulled men out of the homes, and the women had to supplement their lifestyles and supplement these kids somehow by getting these government handouts or however you want to call it.
And broken these families being a part of that.
Yes, these families did not. The nuclear family did not just break up because of the feminist movement. It wasn't just that. You have to also talk about the over criminalization of Black men and Black boys, when it was very difficult for people that didn't have a certain amount of education to be able to get certain jobs and hold high paying jobs to take care of their families. So what do you do when you can't afford? Some people decide that maybe I am going to try crime. I am going to try robbing and stealing and selling drugs. And then now you're in jail for 30 some odd years, and you have several generations that didn't have the patriarchs of their families. So we cannot say that without adding that tidbit in, and that is also a product of America and its laws and its criminalization of Black people and back to that terroristic state. We cannot thrive in this country till the racists get their freaking boots off of our necks and allow us to actually do it and do it for real.
Okay. I hear you. And, mic drop, because that was good. That was very solid. That was a very solid, I hear you and I agree with you. Like, again, my page says pro-Black conservative,
exactly.
right? So I'm not the person that's going to ignore our history. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to try and deny that it happened. When I say make Black America great again, I'm saying, yes, these things happen to us. Where do we go from here? Make us great again. Hold on, please let me finish.
I wasn't going to say anything. I'm chewing on what you're saying.
Okay, because I understand that acknowledging the past might be important as far as understanding where we're at, but I look at it like a woman that keeps saying, well, I had this baby, that's why I'm out of shape. It's been 12 years. The baby is in middle school. You at some point need to go to the gym if you want to get back to shape, right? So it has happened. Those things have happened to us. And there are definitely still instances of discrimination, not oppression, discrimination. And I'm very intentional about making that distinction.
It doesn't make it better.
Oppression, it does make it better, because discrimination can be checked. Discrimination, it's okay. I don't mind her retorting, but as long as I can finish.
I just my little ad libs. You don't have to, don't respond to them.
But discrimination gets checked. We have laws that now demand the accountability for people that are discriminating. That's why redlining laws exist, et cetera, right? That's why when we hear that 2 years ago, Navy Federal was found to be discriminating against Black and brown homeowners or home seekers and giving them worse terms or not even approving them for loans, even though they had the same, qualifications of a white couple. That became news and was corrected because discrimination, not oppression. Oppression is when these things happen and the government says, it's fine, I'm ignoring it, I'm not going to make it right. So we are no longer at a place of oppression. You and I can walk outside right now as Black women and do whatever we want. These two Black men can go do whatever they want. They can own homes, they can own businesses, they can own whatever they want in this country, okay? So oppression, I keep telling people, if you want to see oppression, be a woman in Afghanistan. If you want to see oppression, go to North Korea. If you want to see oppression, go to somewhere with real oppression. You will be grateful to be any color in this country.
I have a question.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
I agree with you. Oppression and discrimination are two different things. Why is America discriminating against its own Americans? Meanwhile, however, you are putting your hands in other people's foreign affairs. And this is what I'm talking about when I say America first. I am an American. I should not have to deal with the discrimination of the country that I am native to. I am an American. Why is it even necessary that I have to file a lawsuit against a corporation, and you're saying that you want Black people to be better when we still have all of these things that are stacked up against us, and we shouldn't, because we are American. That is the problem that I have with this third world ass country.
Okay. One, it's not even close to third world.
It's dirty.
Go visit the third world and then come back. Go to India. And not even India is like second world, but places in India have literal trash rivers. Like if you have not gone to other places that
you looked at the Hudson lately?
No, I'm talking about you can walk across the Hudson because there's so much trash in it. Please look up the trash river in India when you have a chance. Someone put a picture of it into the chat.
I told you I don't give a shit about no other country, right?
But then you're saying, okay.
No, I'm saying America needs to mind its business.
So many large claims
America needs to take care of America. That is the claim.
So let's talk about how I think that Trump is taking care of America. Because when I look at, again, mass deportations, and I look at the fact that so many people are coming here immediately helping themselves to our social services programs, which is our taxes, I think that that's a fantastic thing. Do you know that this year, 2025, was the first time we had negative migration, meaning we actually lost more people than we took in, which is a fantastic thing, in my opinion. When we also look at the realities of, I'm not even going to get into foreign affairs.
Yeah, stay away from foreigners, stay away from refugees. I'm talking about just the Americans that are here right now.
Sure.
How is America helping the real Americans in this country when we are still dealing with discrimination and discriminatory practices in this country? How are we, if you're saying make Black Americans great again, how can we even get that even playing field when there's so many things that are still discriminatory against us today? That's all I care about.
I would ask, right? Being that I asked you about MAGA, do you believe that MAGA believes they want to make Black America great again?
Fuck no.
Good question.
No, I don't think that MAGA makes a huge distinction between each individual race of people in America. When they say make America great again, we're talking about an overall American economy, an American home ownership rate, an American education rate. We're talking about Americans having babies and having healthy, being healthy. We're talking about America as Americans.
I would think they want to make white America great
When you
again.
say they, though, you're
I'm talking about Turning Point. I'm talking. There's a lot of
Turning
big.
Point,
Obviously, Turning Point.
I have
MAGA
friends that are in Turning Point.
No, you don't. They don't
really
fuck with you for real.
Well, you would have to tell her to stop inviting me and hang out on her roof privately because
hanging out with white people.
She's Black.
Oh God,
this assumption that you're making is crazy.
Another
babe.
one?
I have mostly Black conservative friends, and you guys need to understand how many Black conservatives there are. There's a boatload
because Black people are mostly conservative, especially when you think
we always have been.
Yes.
Until the civil rights movement, we were voting primarily conservative. The only reason we started voting Democrat is two reasons. One, when Roosevelt gave the New Deal in the 30s, and that introduced public housing. And we thought that it was a good and brand new, wonderful thing that was going to help and fix everything. And we now see how horrible that has turned out.
But that wasn't for us.
And then it wasn't for us in itself, but it did win us over, is what I'm saying.
It took decades for that to happen. We Black people in public house, that was for the real immigrants. That was for the Irish. That was for the Italians. When we talk about like the starting of the ghettos, like quick, that's not.
I agree with you. You're correct. I'm not just talking about public housing as far as why Black Americans started to lean towards Democrats. I'm talking about the New Deal, the promises of government assistance, government help. That's what came with the New Deal. Mm-hmm. This was on the wake of the Great Depression. Mm-hmm. So they felt that they had to do something to help people get back. And that made sense at the time, but they never put a stop to it. And that was the issue. People got used to it. I agree. Yeah. And that is a conservative base. We say, there's too much social services going on. There's too much giving people the ability to just lean on the government and not strive to make something something of themselves.
But you can't also have discriminatory laws that set people back and not allow them fair access to the same things. All right, I'm not gonna make a blanket statement like that, but what I am gonna say that there are a lot of people that don't want to be on government assistance, that don't want to live in the projects, that don't want to lean on the government, that they want to be able to stand on their own 2 feet and be able to survive. But it is very, very difficult because we are still dealing with laws in a regime that are still treating Black Americans as if they are second-class citizens, as if they are not full-bred Americans.
I just totally disagree with you.
But it's the truth. It literally is the truth. And we can even take it.
What's stopping someone from getting out of the projects? What's stopping someone from getting out of the projects?
Access, resources, financial literacy, money, better paying jobs. It's not like people in the projects are making $100,000. Can people in the projects of Albany projects that's right down the block, can they afford a house in New York City right now? Yes or no?
Yes or no? No, they cannot.
No, they cannot. Neither can I.
But here's the deeper question. Why is that? Because when we look into why housing is so scarce, we have to turn the conversation back to illegal immigration. Believe it or not. Listen, I'm a real estate agent. I did this math. There's estimated 600,000 illegal migrants in New York City alone. There's only 100,000 homeless people. So if you and of the homeless people, about 60% are illegal migrants. So if we're talking about who's taking up especially low-income housing, we know the illegal migrants aren't living in these high-rises. We're talking about people that will come and they're comfortable living in one room. And I know this because I live in Coney Island now. Everyone in my building is renting a room. You can see the signs, renting a room, habitación para rentar, which means
because nobody can afford to live here.
But it's also because, again, a lot of the inventory is being taken up by people who are not supposed to be here. And if you go to food bank lines, there's a food bank at my church, food bank at my church every 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. The vast majority of people in those lines are migrants. And I'm not saying this to veer our conversation, but my point is when I say I like what Trump is doing with deportations, I'll give you a prime example of why this is important to me. In one of my first videos that went viral, especially Black and brown men that do not have a college degree, they need blue collar work, right? They need plumbing jobs. They need electrician. They need moving and storage. They need landscaping jobs. Mm-hmm. Who's dominating those fields?
The brown people.
Not just brown people, illegal brown people.
They still brown.
But they are not Americans. So if you're going to be America first, if you're going to say, why are we not helping Americans? We have to look at where are the opportunities for Americans going. And I'll give you another example. In Florida, they passed a law saying that if you're going to drive a truck, you need to speak English. Do you know that because of that, Black men, it's not
That's
racist.
So racist.
How are you driving a huge vehicle that can kill people and you can't read our signs? That's not racist. It is safety. You have to be able to speak to people. You have to be able to understand the signs that you're passing. You need to be able to speak the language if you're going to operate such a massive vehicle that and if you look into the number of people,
the language. You don't have to speak it.
Look into the number of people that have been killed because of illegal immigrants driving trucks and causing. I'm not making this up.
It's not that you're making it up. I don't believe that you're making it up. I do believe that you have researched these specific things.
No, they're news stories. I don't need to read them. I don't have to research them. They come up.
The fact of the matter is,
you're exaggerating.
No, I'm not.
It doesn't.
I'm really not.
It doesn't matter. I and this is what I really believe. Like, it doesn't matter. We can continue to blame and point fingers at immigration, migrants, and all of these different things. But even if they were not here, this country is still racist against the real Americans of this country. Even before most of these illegal migrants and all of this were here, these laws that are in play, that are in practice, have still literally had their boots on the necks and on the backs of Black Americans. And that's why I can't concede to these thought processes or the evidence, the news, or whatever you want to call it, because at the end of the day, that still is not stopping the upward trajectory of Black people, because the upward trajectory of Black people has been stopped and started and stopped and started and stopped and started since they dragged our asses over here.
So when you're saying upward trajectory, I find it confusing that we can't look at the facts, because when I see, again, and I don't mean to harp on the illegal immigration thing, but I told you leave them people alone. But I need to bring up the fact that, again, if we have a concern that Black people are being disenfranchised by this country, one thing that historically, but you're making the claim that it's still happening. That's
Absolutely.
your suggestion. Okay. So what I always ask is, how is it that Black people, it's so hard for Black people to succeed here, yet someone can come here with no education in our former education,
not even speaking English,
not speaking English, and they can do well for themselves
because of the laws.
What laws? Name me a law.
Because of the come
Name
on,
me
don't
a specific law.
don't make me do this.
Name me a specific law that holds back Black people right now.
It's not all right. So let me not say that. It's not the laws. It's because of the discrimination. Because Addie Inca could come to America as a Nigerian student and get more than Laquan from the projects.
And that's happening because of Democrat policies. This is what I'm saying to you.
No.
I'm agreeing with you.
But you're saying it's happening because of Democrat policies. However, a lot of the red states are in the South, right or wrong. Are Black people doing better in red states than they are in blue states?
Yes.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are. Look at the home ownership amongst Black people in Texas. Look at the home ownership amongst Black people in Florida. Look at the income, the standard income in Texas. Texas is actually considered the best place to be a Black person in the entire country. I know this because I deeply researched potentially going to Texas.
That's because the major cities are predominantly Black.
The major cities are predominantly Black, but it's also because they have.
Black.
It's also because they have no property tax, not property tax, no income tax. Because Texas, because okay. Let me give you a roundabout of this. Okay,
go ahead.
One. What you're addressing about the man coming here and getting more resources than a Black person, that's a huge reason I'm stopped voting Democrat, especially here in New York City, because Democrats are the ones saying we're a sanctuary city. We're going to take care of you if you come here. When I was facing homelessness as a Black American that has been here and contributed my taxes, I was denied for rent assistance. But I said, I bet you if I walked in here and I said, my name is Maria, soy Maria, no tango ID.
That's racist.
Necesito ayuda. If I did it, they would have gave me money. And I saw it myself.
Exactly. That's discrimination.
Exactly.
In this country.
But it is Democrats. It's not Republican. Because you're asking me how am I MAGA. You're asking me how am I MAGA.
No, we've been past that. No, we're talking about America. No, we're talking about, but my thing is America's ghetto, and America needs to start taking care of America. Americans should not be discriminated against in America, point blank, period, full stop. I don't give a damn if you're a Democrat. I don't give a damn if you're a Republican. You cannot say America first. You cannot believe in Black people and their upward trajectory in America, but not understanding and coming to terms with the fact that the laws and the discrimination in this
one law.
Okay,
I've asked you to mention one law that is directly discriminatory against Black people. Because again,
but you know that's not going to happen because there is not.
But again, so then you can't keep saying
you said directly discriminatory.
But you can't keep saying the laws.
Trump said he wants to interject.
I got a quick question because I don't necessarily disagree with you about the migrant taking some of the resources. I think we're talking about a lot of small, minor things here. And I think the bigger question is Trump and his administration has purposely created the divide where poor people of all, statuses, immigrant or not, are now fighting each other and blaming each other and pointing the finger over who's taking whose resources.
How did Trump do that?
Let me finish. Meanwhile, while Trump and his entire administration and everybody that is around him, they're actually taking all the resources from all of us, and we're over here fighting, talking about the migrants are taking our opportunities and resources and apartments, and we're pointing the finger at each other about who's holding each other back. But you're pro-Trump and pro-MAGA, where him and his billionaire conglomerate that's around him, you don't feel any ways about the resources that they're taking from everybody?
Okay, give me an example of resources that billionaires are taking from the everyday American.
What?
No,
their planes and yachts alone are resources that take away from American people. They are literally. What do you mean?
How we barely have private planes taking away from our ability to fly?
No. It's not from taking away from our ability to fly. At the end of the day, with the thing that they do is they overuse resources that other people in this country still need.
What?
How are you able to take a plane, fly from one city to another just to take a meeting in a private plane? So we're talking about oil, we're talking about gas. It doesn't affect me.
They pay for all of those things.
I'm okay. But
they actually stimulate the economy by doing those things. How is this a bad thing?
What about the rest of the Americans that literally can't afford to eat?
What does that have to do one with it? Now you're making a very completely separate claims. What does someone flying from one side to the next in their own vehicle have anything to do with whether or not you can get food?
Because
I don't understand that.
Because that is what's the thought I'm trying to make? The thought I'm trying to make is an example of rich people that are overcompensated and they're doing more to the detriment of poor people in America.
You know who
they are
hires
using
people?
resources. They are using resources. They are not.
They're
what
not
is the
using
point
resources.
that I'm? Yes, they are.
Babe, they are creating resources. Do you think
How?
about, babe, who hires the most people in this country? The billionaires that own the big companies, the billionaires that own the big companies, and the U.S. government, which can be considered the biggest corporation in the country.
You know, America is a
So
corporation.
how much has
that?
Trump personally, how much of his net worth has risen since his presidency? How much has Elon Musk?
How much did he take for an actual salary?
Oh, that's besides the
0.
point.
It's
You don't
not.
need a
It's
salary
not.
as
It's
long as you
not.
can siphon your money from
But
wherever
he's
you
the
want.
only one that didn't take a salary.
Because he's the only one that's still doing backdoor deals and still doing business as a president.
Gosh, I don't want to hear her talk.
No, it's okay. I have no
A
problem.
perfect example is people like Elon Musk that have profited from government contracts, but meanwhile, the government has shut down and regular TSA blue collar workers aren't getting paid in a timely fashion.
That's the Democrats causing a shutdown. I will remind you of
Okay,
that.
in your opinion.
Because-
No, it's a fact.
No,
So
it is a
Trump
fact.
is not
She's right.
in
Thank
office.
you. No, she's right. But there is you're missing a very important
All
caveat.
because they want ICE to stop rounding up illegals. That's why they have the government shut down right now. And
Back to the
they-
Spider-Man
but
meme.
they-
You're pointing fingers
No,
about
these are
who's who.
facts.
because ICE is
It's
out of
also a
control.
fact that Trump actually said that he has the money to pay them
does.
at one point.
And he offered to.
But he can't.
When? After
And
they were
Elon
not getting
offered
paid
to.
for months,
And he
right?
Elon
can't.
offered to.
My whole point is they were not getting paid for months.
But now
and Trump has the ability
you're
to
now
do that.
making this a Trump problem as if he started the shutdown and or as if he's the one that's continuing the shutdown. He has offered to pay these people. Elon Musk has offered to pay these. Hold on. And he actually got a bill passed to pay these people.
These people is crazy.
The TSA agent.
My point
and,
is-
and multiple others. It's not just
My
TSA.
point is,
affected.
who is benefiting? We're talking about migrants creating an atmosphere where Black Americans are not getting their proper due and proper resources. We're fighting for pennies, right? I'm talking about the people that you're actually admiring and saying are have pro-Black policies. The Trump administration are actually the ones taking all the resources and they're allowing us,
Again,
they're
what
creating
resources?
the narrative where we're pointing the finger at each other. It's
What
poor white people
resources are
pointing
they
the finger
taking?
at poor Black people and poor migrants and all poor people. This is an economic divide.
What
While the people on top
resources?
that you admire, that you're saying are pro our interests, are actually running off with billions of dollars in excess funds that they did not have prior to this administration.
Are you aware of how the stock exchange works?
Absolutely.
Okay. So it frustrates me because people are pointing out how much money Trump might have made or whoever. No one's talking about the individual investors that saw, oh, hey, there's a bunch of oil that's about to come into the country. Maybe I should invest in oil. Oh, hey, we have a huge change that's happening. Anytime there's a regime change in any other country, stocks change. Anytime there's a presidential change in this country, stocks go up or down. People made a bunch of money as well. They're focused on Trump because they want you to focus on Trump. But he's not the only person.
Insider trading at its
No, it's
finest.
not insider. You know who was insider trading is Nancy freaking
Pelosi.
Pelosi.
I know you were
Thank
gonna say it.
Because it's the truth, bro. I can't make
Her
that
too.
up.
Again, we're not here to talk about
them
Democrat
all.
versus Republican. We're
But
talking
I
about
mean, I feel like that
the
has to be
U.S.
the
government and the
conversation.
entire system of white supremacy is what we're talking about.
And
you
I
are
think that you're
caping for them.
I think
So
that
that's where my debate lies. Like, for you to be consider them a pro-black administration or for our best interest, that's where I'm debating.
So I did not say that, actually. I said I'm a pro-black conservative.
Okay.
And I said that I do believe, I believe in making Black America great again. And I believe that the Black community needs to come back to conservative values in order to be great again. That is my core beliefs in general. I do think that the policies that the Trump administration are enacting are more beneficial than detrimental to the Black community for multiple reasons. I think it's a good thing to remove people that will do work that we need for less than we're willing to take. I think it's a good thing to tell Black people to stop aborting their babies. I think it's a good thing to promote the idea of working for yourself, of entrepreneurship, of capitalism. Capitalism is what builds strong countries and gives people the opportunity to create a business that then turns around and hires other people. It is a good thing to have capitalism. I think it's important to not suggest to Black people that living on the government is the way that you should be. It's okay to have some help for a season, but we have people that have been on the government assistance for generations. We have people living in public housing that have received housing from their grandmother was the first one on the lease, and it's been handed down in the projects, and we wonder why people aren't leaving the projects, because it doesn't make sense to leave the projects. It's easier to stay there.
You're again, you're putting all these points out there, right? And I want to argue with all of these different ones, right? But you're saying one against abortions, but then you're saying that people is on government assistance.
Thank you.
Why would you, if you don't have the money to support a child,
why are you having sex?
Oh, you don't have sex. Oh,
why are you having sex?
Because you're a Christian, so you don't think that you should have.
But also, even if I wasn't a Christian,
happen.
How do babies get here?
But if things happen,
how do things happen?
Okay, by having sex.
Precisely.
So, what do you want a law to tell people not to have sex?
I'm not going to have a law
because
to tell
what
people
I'm
not to have
saying
sex.
is the neighborhoods, right, the communities, they fall victim to these families that can't raise a child properly because they don't have the income, they don't have the education. These people that are having 3-4 kids and they're on SNAP, Medicaid, or WIC or whatever it is, they're not able to parent that child correctly. So I would much rather, me personally, them have Planned Parenthood, me personally, than say just keep having as many kids and then set your kids out into the street because you can't take care of them, and then they're living hand to mouth, and see you and your child walking down the block and say, you know what, I like her cross. I'm yapping that because I don't really, my moms and pops don't really know enough to teach me any better. You understand what I'm saying? So it's kind of like we have.
I don't think that
these
the
idealistic views
Sure.
of what community should be, but we have to pay attention to the micros as well.
So I hear you. And again, this is why conservative values is what I'm saying. Because conservative values says wait until marriage to start having sex and having kids, right? Conservative values would take that entire conversation mostly out of play because we wouldn't have as many single parents, single mothers, as many teen parents, as many people who cannot afford their children and who are not ready to have children. We would have a more present mindset, a more focused mindset when we're thinking about starting a family, right? Also, I do not believe that the value of a child's life should be determined by whether or not their parents wanted them or whether or not their parents have money or whether or not they're going to be raised in the hood. I think that child, once it exists, and by exist, I mean once it is in its mother's womb, has value. So I am not comfortable with the idea of saying a poor person is better off aborting their child. And also, that is eugenics. And it frustrates me that the Black community doesn't see that. But when Margaret Sanger created Planned Parenthood, she is on record saying we need to stop Black people from having babies. These people are born to be poor. They're born to be menace to society. They will never do anything good with their lives. It is better, the same exact words that you just said in a different way. It is better for them not to exist than to be let loose in society. So I am firmly against it. And I think that I would love to see the Black community, instead of having a conversation of, well, how come, you want to cut this? Let's talk about teaching our daughters. Respect yourself enough to wait a little while before you have sex. Teaching your sons, babies come from sex. And it's not cute to have 3, 4, 5 baby mamas. It's not cute to be out here slinging it at any pretty face that has a big booty.
Yeah, know your worth.
Know your worth, bro.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. So when I say that the Black community deserves conservative values, I really firmly do believe that. And I think that if we took it upon ourselves to say, you know what, bad things have happened to us. This country has been a crap to us. The government hates us, sure. How is it that the Jewish community here in Brooklyn, New York, hold on, I'm going somewhere. The Jewish community here in New York, Jews came here and people hated them just as much, right? We know this. We know the KKK hates some Jews. Their ability to sustain has been in coming together after every individual attack. And I'm not saying that they were attacked more than us. I'll never say that. I always have debates with them. I'm like, the Holocaust was not as bad as slavery. You cannot convince me of that. What I will say is Black people are resilient. We are amazingly resilient. And we are extremely creative. We have immensely brilliant minds, right? As you mentioned, we've invented multiple things. We know how to start communities. We know how to become millionaires and billionaires. We have millionaires and billionaires today. We can shift this entire conversation that's happening within the Black community. But we have to start by opening eyes and being real about the actual problems. That's how I feel. So when I say I'm MAGA, I'm not worried about how white America's doing. And if you watch a debate I did, I told a girl, I said, we're talking about Black people. I do not want to hear but what about them? I don't care what they're doing. If at the very most, I might look at them as an example that we can replicate, but I do not care that they're not good with money either. We need to get better with money. You mentioned people, don't have financial education. YouTube exists. At this point, that is no longer an excuse. We have men like you, women like you. You can start a youth group. You can go into schools and offer to, teach a free class. You can give free classes at the library. We can take it upon ourselves to educate our people. But if we're going to continue to say, oh, the government, then we're saying the government has to fix us. Instead of saying the government sucks, let's fix ourselves.
The government broke us. Need to get us out of our way.
Yes.
Get out of our way.
Yes.
But that's
I think they are out of
conversation.
Our way.
I don't believe so. And it's
again, I asked for laws that stop Black people from doing anything, and I asked for oppression that's actively happening in the country. And you can't. Again, I'm not saying that there isn't individual discrimination, but laws versus what an individual company does are two different things.
Can you? I have you again. You said so much, and I would love to be able to break it all down. We only have 5 minutes left. I'm just go somewhere else.
Okay.
Right. The war in Iran right now, right? I need to go over there because that's one of the main points. It's one of the main. I wanted answers to that before you leave. Like I said, we only have 5 minutes.
Yeah, you got this.
Do you like where we are? In this war today?
Do I like where we are? I don't like war. Let's be clear. Right? I don't like it. I don't want it to be happening. I also don't like how do I explain it? I don't like the concept of us perpetually having to be involved in other things. Believe it, I am America first. I did hope that Trump was going to be more or less active in other countries' affairs. I did hope for that. And I think that he's doing a decent job of not being everywhere all at once.
Really?
I do. I think so because he's everywhere, but not every single place, right? It could be worse. And the major issue I have with Iran, or my thoughts towards Iran, I think that the president has a longer term goal that the vast majority of us don't understand quite yet. I watched a person that kind of broke down the strategic advantages of us being involved in Iran and their proximity to our, larger enemies of China and Russia. So I don't claim to be someone that understands war as, I'm not a war buff, a war history buff. I do know that I don't think that it's going to be that bad for America is basically what I would say. I really don't. I think that I would rather us.
Well, we've entered into this situation.
You said fuck them other people.
And you
said America first.
we've entered into this situation, and you were like, listen, let this man do what he's going to do. This is why I like Trump. He knows what he's doing. He's not going to play games. We went over there. We got the peace treaty. Y'all got to stop, jumping bad. Let him do what he's going to do.
But that did change as of like this morning.
Sure did.
Exactly. Yeah, so
we're taking a major L right now.
Why are we taking a major L?
We're taking a major L because the peace deals didn't work. Like
Iran did not
concede.
Portion.
No, they did not concede. They did not come to the table and say, yes, America, we're going to let you have what you want to have. They basically said, fuck you, suck my dick, and sent JD Vance and the rest of them back. So now Trump is like, oh, we're going to cut off the strait ourselves. We're going to send the Navy. We're going to send all of these Americans over there. So since you don't want to do what I want you to do, now I'm going to bully this whole other region so we can finally get what we want. The thing is, the only thing that I have a lot of issues, but my thing, I'm say it, and I swear I'm going to be done because I don't even want to touch it.
I just want to make sure I remember because I'll forget. Go ahead.
I think that it is an interesting parallel when you said that you think that Trump has a plan in the end that we're not just quite sure of, because I feel like that mirrors what we were saying earlier in the conversation about religion. And that is another reason why I be thinking that MAGA is a cult, because I don't think that a president should enter this country into a war that Congress did not sign off on, that we did not ask for, and then you have this master plan in the back of your head of how it's going to end, and none of us are in on it. I think that that's crazy.
And he does not have a plan.
I know.
I do think he has a very good plan.
I think he's off of vibes. I think that he understands that he is the president of the United States. I feel like last time he didn't really like shake his little dick enough, and now he's like, yeah, I'm here again, and I'm going to do whatever it is that I want to do, and I don't care who dies. I don't care if Americans die. He even said, like, some Americans, we're going to have to sacrifice some of our Americans. You don't give a fuck about nobody but himself.
He's also admitted on record that we are only involved in this to support our ally Israel. This is not some big plan or goal of America. We have no strategic need to be involved in this whatsoever.
Marien?
Well, okay. So,
vibes.
Like what you were mentioning about how they did not hold up to their portion of the peace treaty. Mm-hmm. As I was saying to you earlier, this is what I mean when I say that you can't negotiate gently with people who you have been trying to negotiate with for 40 plus years, who simply will not agree.
Concede.
So you must bully them eventually if you need something to happen. There's nothing we can do other than meet them at the place where they're at, which is they're stubborn, so we need to be as stubborn as them.
What do we need from Iran?
Well, first of all, to open the Strait of Hormuz so we can get the oil that you guys keep complaining. Oh, my gas went up $1, even though under Biden it was $7. I didn't care. But under Trump, now that it's $4, I'm freaking out.
I don't drive.
Yes.
Not in New York, but in California.
In California, it was like $7.
Okay. So my question is, what closed the Strait of Hormuz?
So it's all a complete long-standing trajectory of events, right? We know that we were in the JPOC, JPCOA. That was the agreement between the United States and Iran with 7 other countries, right? Iran was supposed to not be creating nuclear weapons. That was the agreement.
Oh, we're doing the weapons of mass destruction thing again?
Right.
You think they don't have them? They've said they have them.
It doesn't matter.
They've said it.
We
it
have
does
them.
matter.
But we have them.
Like us.
I thought we got rid of it in June, though.
We like us.
Trump went on record and said that last June all the weapons have been removed, correct?
Yes. Weapons have been,
and we
bombed them and we got rid of their weapons. Their ability to create more is the conversation that we're having now. Their ability to siphon and to manufacture and to refine uranium, right? This is a long-standing thing. This is not Trump created, right? Again, Obama entered us into JPOC because from the late 80s, we have been talking about Iran's ability to create nuclear weapons.
So are we jealous?
Trump? No. Why would we be jealous? We have a way bigger artillery than them.
So why do we care?
I don't care if the bully a bunch of people if they even touch a nuke.
But did they threaten to?
It's a false justification.
It is.
That's all it is.
They didn't. Did Iran come out and say? Did Iran come out and say? You know what? I'm gonna bomb America. I'm gonna throw a nuke at that hoe.
Yes.
When?
Every time they scream "Death to America," every time they give weapons to people like Hezbollah, Hamas, to Al Qaeda.
Did they give him a nuke?
All they have to do is give them a nuke.
But did they?
Do you want them to?
But did they?
Okay, so what? Here's my question. My question.
I'm here.
Would it be better? You know someone doesn't like you. You know I don't like you. Mm-hmm. You see me putting my gun together on the side.
Cool.
You're gonna wait until I shoot you to then decide to defend yourself?
Well,
I'm not the center of the world.
Yes, exactly.
I don't feel like I'm the center of the world. So just because I don't like you and you don't like me, if you have a gun, I'm not going to naturally assume that you finna shoot me.
I have said
I'm pretty
I'm
sure
going
you
to
got
shoot
a couple
you.
of other people that you can shoot.
I'm going to shoot you.
But you're not going to nuke me.
But
I am going to nuke you.
But weren't we in talks? Weren't we in diplomatic talks?
Yes.
When we
We're trying. Yes, we've been.
When we initially started boming Iran, were we not in the
We
diplomatic
Which
talks?
is a
we
walkover.
went
with
and
them?
spoke. Listen, we had met with them in I can't remember the space like right now. We had met with them in it's gonna come to me later.
Don't
but
say we, say them.
America,
Thank you.
the country, had met with the Iranian leaders. We did that on Thursday, and we bombed them that following Saturday or Friday night.
It was Friday,
Saturday.
yeah. Why?
Because they would not
Concede.
negotiate.
Because they would not bow down to you. They would not bend the knee. So then what we decided to do is I walked in here because our thought process
Y'all want these
is
people to be soft? You want America to be soft?
America ain't never been
some
soft.
punks?
Diplomatic is not
Diplomatic is not exactly.
Diplomatic
actually
is what
the
we
opposite
tried
of
for
that.
40 plus years.
That is
Then
not diplomacy.
they said something that I didn't like. They said something that America didn't like. They did not fully concede to what America wanted. So America said, "All right, boom, now I'm going to throw a bomb on this bitch." And then Iran said, "Oh, wait a minute, ho. You think that you going to bomb us. You think you finna win this, but you not. So now I'm going to cut your ass off because you fucked up the whole." We're sitting here trying to have a diplomatic conversation. And because I won't concede to everything, like this is not the America that you have where you have control of the House of Representatives, you have control of the Congress, you have control of the Senate, and you can just do whatever you want. You can't come to my house and tell me that I need to do what you want me to do. I said that I'm going to do what I'm willing to do. And if we can meet in the middle, then we can meet in the middle. But you're not going to come over here and tell me what I'm going to do and what I'm not going to do. And then you
Except
went
we
and
are.
bombed me. Yeah, you went and bombed me,
did.
and I shut your whole shit off. And now
we're going to go over there and make them
and we're going to
open
make it worse.
We're going
to make
to
it worse.
Assert dominance because
Yes.
that's what you do.
And
when
Americans
you
are going to
the
die.
biggest and baddest.
And
That's what
Americans are going to
Americans
die.
will die if they bomb us anyway.
They are not
Americans
bombing
do
us.
die because of Hezbollah and Hamas and Al Qaeda attacks. We cannot keep ignoring that fact.
Okay.
And it frustrates me that we're not talking about New Zealand. We're not talking about Switzerland. We're not talking about anywhere that hasn't
We're talking
threatened the
about a
United States.
viable
We're talking about one of
opponent.
the worst places in the world to be a woman. We're talking about one of the worst places
This is
in the
the worst
world.
place in the
Now
world to be a
we're the
woman.
moral
Baby girl,
police.
go
Now-
anywhere else dressed like that and see if you come back.
I don't want to
Come on
because
now.
I am an American. I should be able to do what I want and to exercise the freedoms that I was given, my God-born
Who
given
gave
right
you those
as an
freedoms?
American.
Who
I think
gave you
this
those
has been-
freedoms?
I think
Us
this has been-
fighting against people that want to take those freedoms.
This has been a great episode. I have one last question
Yes.
for Marien.
Yes.
Is there anything that you don't like that MAGA or Trump himself has done? Right? Because I think that people see you and they're like, oh, she capes for everything he says. She finds a reason. She finds a reason.
Right.
Is there anything that you willing to put on record like, yo, I don't like that he did this or that
You
they
can
stood
go
for
through my
this?
page and see multiple videos that I've said where I've criticized
Well,
Trump
please
on
give me,
certain
Give us
things.
one.
Give me one.
I'll give you one example. I'm not crazy about the student loan repayment. I thought that was unfair because I know that the vast majority of the people with student loans, they fell victim to the same predatory practices that happened during the housing crash.
crisis, yeah.
Exactly. So that's something that I firmly said, you know what, this sucks. I'm hopeful that as it goes on and people complain more and more, that Trump will change his mind on that. That's one thing that I'm completely against.
Oh, I didn't know that Trump. I thought that happened during the Biden administration.
No, Biden tried to alleviate the student loans,
And
but
then
Trump
came
went
in
back
and
in and said, no, you should
Like,
repay
nope, now I
them.
gotta
Yep.
pay.
He said, nah, fuck that. Y'all going to pay. Another example of Americans being hurt by America.
I mean, sure. But again, the America that hurt the Americans were the American banks and realistically these predatory lenders. It really isn't the government's fault that the government, you know, that those predatory lenders came after us. And it would have been nice if the government said, I see the problem and I'll alleviate it. And I do think actually down the line it might still happen. But we did take out those loans.
Can I
right?
ask a quick question?
We took them. You know, whatever. If you can pay them back, you pay them back. If not, then down the line, if enough people can't pay them back, there'll be a further, you know, follow-up conversation.
This country in debt. I'm cool. I ain't paying shit
Every
back. If they not paying their shit back, I
Every
ain't paying my shit
single country
back.
is in debt, though.
Trump has something.
We've been talking for a long time. We disagreed on a lot of things. Some things we have agreed on. What do you think you found that Black conservatives like yourself? I think I could speak for everybody in this room. I think we all consider ourselves pro-Black, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What are some things that a Black conservative, pro-Black person like yourself would agree on with people that are Black and progressive? I could give you an example.
Give me some points that Black progressives
right,
make, and I'll let you know whether or not
I'll give you an example of how progressive people sometimes agree with the Trump MAGA supporters. So a lot of the Trump MAGA supporters are anti-government. And that's why they like Trump to begin with, because he was kind of bucking the system. Yeah. And I think a lot of his supporters are against how he's handling the Epstein files because they are against government cover-ups. Mm-hmm. They want transparency. And I think there's a level of agreement that a lot of people have when it comes to that are on opposite sides on a lot of other issues.
Yeah.
So that's an example of where conservatives and progressives could be aligned.
Sure. That's definitely something I agree with as well. I mean, but I'm also not a conspiracy theorist in the regards of this particular thing, but I'm a realist, right? Like I said this on the episode that I just did with Jubilee. You know, the reality is there has to be so many back alley conversations going on around these Epstein files on both sides of the aisle. Mm-hmm. The amount of people that must have threatened Trump, you know, anyone that is thinking about truly releasing the files. I don't blame anyone for dragging their feet. I don't blame Pam Bondi. I would have liked to see her just go ahead and release it, but I cannot imagine the death threats that these people are receiving, right? As if we talk about the insane number of higher ups that are implicated in this, that are probably guilty in this, that means billions and billions, if not trillions of dollars are against whoever decides to finally release this thing, right? So we're asking someone to take on a very intense and serious risk to their personal well-being, no matter who else actually ends up going to jail. Whoever is the one that finally releases this and shines light on that, it's a whistleblower, and whistleblowers die every day, right?
So we're basically saying that those trillions of dollars do control the government.
Mm-hmm. I mean, but that's absolutely with every single country. We know that. That's a fact.
But Trump was supposed to be draining the swamp. It seems like he jumped right on in it.
I think he's been doing a very good job of realistically dismantling as much as possible. Like, one thing that no one is talking about is the amount of fraud that's been uncovered. And when you see fraud,
that he supports, that did something he feels did something for him, or would hold him back. Do you believe that he should have a third term?
No, he doesn't want a third term. He does not want a third term. He's joked about it, but he's not running for a third term.
It's not funny to say things against the Constitution, just like it's not funny to fan the flames of treason. That is so anti-American. Even to joke about it is anti-American.
Let me tell you what
That is not funny.
I went to the Black, it's the very long name, the Black, Latino, Hispanic, something else caucus. I can't remember the last two. Mm-hmm. Caucus in Albany, 2 or 3 months ago, right? Basically, all of the Black and brown mayors from every city here in New York that has a Black and brown mayor, they were there. They did a mayoral caucus. They had a mayoral roundtable. Mm-hmm. Every last one of them stood up there and said, "We are." Dedicated to being a sanctuary city, and if they come to us, we're going to fight them, we're going to push back, etc. One particular mayor, I have him on tape, he said, if Trump wants to hire the Proud Boys for ICE, then I got some corner boys with big guns that can stand there and exactly.
Lit.
So if someone gets shot by ICE in Albany, can I now then say that this man incited violence, told people in his state to fight against armed forces, and he should go to jail for that?
First of all, ICE is nothing but an American Gestapo.
I want us to stay on my question.
No. ICE is nothing but
Left
an
my
American
question,
Gestapo. It is a terroristic agent. And if real Americans decide that they want to rise up against fake police or a fake police state, I have no problem with that.
Okay, so let's be clear. You're very hypocritically saying that it is okay for Americans to go against one portion of the government, but it's not okay for Americans to storm the Capitol.
No, I'm saying that if we live in the same America that thought it was okay to storm the Capitol and to literally physically abuse and emotionally abuse people that were working for America, because that was actually their job, then Uchiwali one mic. Yeah, run it back. Run it back. If January 6th is okay, then what that man is said is okay.
I don't think anyone said it was okay. My point was simply that Trump didn't incite the violence.
We never said it wasn't okay.
We're going to speak about ICE. I do want your thoughts on that, and then we're done.
Okay,
I'm done.
Then we're done.
I've been done. I gotta go.
Right?
I gotta go home.
I believe that the government is still closed to this day. I think it's been about 2 months now, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're coming upon 2 months, and it's the longest government shutdown in history. And you're saying that the Democrats are keeping it closed.
Yes.
Because they don't want to concede to ICE in their fake ass.
No, because they want to make changes to
ICE. Yes, they would like to be ICE to stop wearing face masks, and I believe also to need a warrant to go into people's homes.
Yes,
to go into any private property.
These are things that are part of the United States Constitution, right? That an officer would need to be able to identify themselves and need a warrant to go onto private property or into private property. But Trump has made it legal, as of right now, for ICE to not have to do that.
Thank you.
And it has been legal previously. When Obama was using ICE and when he became the deporter in chief, they did the exact same things that they're doing now, except for the mask.
And do you agree with it?
Do I agree with what?
What ICE should not need a warrant to go into homes, that they should not have to identify themselves as police.
So one, they do identify themselves as police. They wear vests that say ICE police.
It has no badge number.
The reason that they have to stay covered, I can tell you from personal experience. I guarantee you, if I took my business name out of my bio on Instagram because Democrats and liberals were leaving fake reviews for my company. They have called my brokerage and made fake claims that I'm a discriminatory realtor, etc. So when I say that I know for a fact that if these men walk through a neighborhood and don't have masks on, these people will take photos of them. They will find where they live. They will go harass them and they will hurt them. I can tell you this because I've seen how the left reacts because they have been inflamed. If we're talking about who's been inflamed, we need to talk about every single Democrat leader telling people to fight back against ICE. Also, when it comes to the warrants, it's just a silly thing to think about. You're going to ask someone, I'm coming to get this person. I'm coming to get you. Because it's not just the warrants. Let's be clear. It's not just that. I can give you all the points. They want them to have warrants. They want them to not be allowed to go into schools, churches, get this, schools, churches, or polling locations.
Yes.
So the question would be, why would ICE need to go to a polling location if illegal immigrants are not voting? Per what Democrats have been claiming.
Because you don't know an elite. Well, I would think that you don't know for sure. There's plenty of people that they've pulled over or pulled out their car that are American citizens.
Absolutely.
So
and
so the idea that you would go into a polling location that could affect an election when you don't have real proof over whether this person is or isn't is something that could influence an election, I would think.
I hear what you're saying. And then the other side is very simply, if we don't think that illegal migrants would even be at a polling location, then why be intentional about adding that?
Why not agree to it?
The only thing that I would say to end this.
Well, I want to make one more
very quickly before you do that is, I lived through 1980, 1990, 2000. I was stopped and frisked. I've been arrested for bullshit. I was standing next to him and got just yanked off the train. Yo, you're getting arrested. You did something. And they dismissed it 2 weeks later. Like, oh yeah, it wasn't him. Precisely. I never went to find the DA. None of the police that stopped and frisked me. None of that. So everything that you're saying, regardless of whether you have a business online and people went and did that, that's not a thing where people go say, hey, this arresting officer lives in Staten Island
Facts.
or lives over here in Long Island. Let's go over here. And
That's
first
absolutely
if you are doing illegal
you're
It's not a
counting
thing.
your personal
Only if you're-
experience as
Only if
truth,
you're doing
and I'm
illegal
accounting my
things.
personal experience as
Well,
truth.
no, I'm not discounting yours. I'm saying that, yes,
You're saying
I
that
can
it's
say
not a
that
thing,
can
but it
happen
is
for
a
you.
thing.
But I'm saying that for arresting officers, it's not a thing. Yes, listen, trust me. I know what it's like for people to not like you based off your internet character. Trust me, I've been through it. You don't know me very well. We just started, right? But I've been through it. You go into any of my comments and see what they say about me. I've had people come to my door.
Precisely.
I've had this happen.
Okay,
But it's
so then how
never
can you
been a
disagree with
thing
me?
for law enforcement to be hunted down by criminals. Not a thing where it's like
Are you
worth,
joking? Do you
not
know
a
how
thing
many
where
cops
it's
get
worth-
shot in their police vehicles just for being a cop? Do you
But
know how
that's
much
not-
the
but
That's not
war
what- that's
against
not the
the
point.
Two different things.
That's not
That's
a
the
different thing. No,
It
the
is.
reality is when we have people told the law enforcement is your enemy, some vigilantes out there always take it upon themselves to try and hurt those people. This happens after the LA riots. This happens after the George Floyd protest. This happens every
So do you
single
believe
time.
that the police should be able to wear masks as well?
What I believe, the police, that's not the conversation that's happening right now.
That's
But it's
what
the
I'm
same
asking.
difference.
That's what I'm
That's what we're
asking.
I will
talking
say
about.
this: I would not blame them if they did,
But they don't.
I would not blame them,
And it's illegal for them
Sure.
too. And they have to have their badge on, and they have to have their cams on. All of these things are there in place, not only for the safety of the officer, but also for the safety of the citizen. For ICE to be able to not have to do any of those things, it is a gross negligence. It is very reminiscent of the Gestapo. It's very reminiscent of a terroristic organization. And at the end of the day, we don't even know how these people are trained. We don't know where these people come from. And they can have masks over their face. Why would they have masks over their face? To be afraid of dealing with illegal people that they are about to deport, people that technically don't even belong here. But a police officer has to do all of these things. Why can they not have the same sanctions of every other cop, state trooper in this country that is operating under the guise and the laws of the land of this country? Sure. You cannot just grab somebody off the street without due process. You cannot do it without a warrant. You cannot do it without actually having a reason. You can't just grab people up. But right now, that's what they're doing. You're grabbing people up. You're going into schools. You're pulling out children. You're separating people from their families. You're putting them into fake concentration camps. Kids are being sexually assaulted and all types of shit that's going on right here in this country before they get shipped back to wherever they're supposed to be getting shipped to. And you're saying that that's okay? Every Democrat that keeps voting against it, that is something important to vote against. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't have to stop with just fucking Spanish people or just Somalian people or just Syrians. Because then what happens when they come to our black people's doorsteps? What happens when we have our Afro-Latinos that live in this country that are a part of the blackness of this country too? What happens when it happens to them? Because it's a discriminatory practice. And at the end of the day, we don't need ICE. We already have PDs and state troopers, and we have the feds, and we have all of these other organizations that they have to do things the right way. ICE is not doing it the right way. And until they do it the right way, they should not exist.
Okay. One, ICE is going after people.
Please don't
by
respond
name.
after
I'm
that.
not.
This is the last comment of the day.
ICE is going after people by name. ICE comes with a complete file on the people that they are looking for. There's actually multiple instances where you can see that people have blockaded the street and the ICE agents have shown them this person's criminal history, how they are raping children, how they are in drug game, etc. And ICE is going after people by name. This whole idea of them rounding people off the street, they're picking people up specifically, okay, that they know their names. It's a bunch of people because Biden let in tens of millions of people. Again, Biden did that the wrong way. These individuals came the wrong way. Also, a lot of ICE agents, and I'm not disagreeing with you that it's difficult. What's happening is difficult. It's a difficult situation. A lot of the ICE agents are newer to ICE. They're not career-long police officers. These men are doing this for a season, and then they're going to go back into their regular lives, okay?
As
So I
Boys?
have not everyone. First of all, a lot of them are black people. You saw the black woman who was spitting on a black ICE agent say, oh, sorry, it was a white woman who spit on a black ICE agent saying, how do you feel to be a race traitor? But now the black community doesn't care if a black man gets spit on as long as he's wearing certain outfits, right? Here's my point.
MAGA didn't care when them cops was getting fucked up at the insurrection, so now I don't care.
Can we just...
MAGA did
I
care.
really need to end this
I'm
episode.
sorry.
To wrap it up, okay? I appreciate that this sounds and is difficult. I will remind everyone that it was not better during Obama's time. The problem is we have this society that is so anti-Trump that even when he does exactly what Obama did, but not as egregious, with less kids in cages, because the cages even exist because of Obama. I will remind you, you can look that up, right? Yeah. When we say we're not going to separate kids at the border, so we'll just deport the whole family because we don't want to send a child back or send their parent back and leave a kid here without their families, right? Also, we are ignoring the fact that there was one other insane clause, which is that they want in this bill that the Democrats have suggested, they want ICE to have to confirm that someone is not a citizen before detaining them. Hold on. So when I come up to you and I say, hey, are you the woman that I'm looking for? And you say, oh, no, I'm not. I say, oh, well, wait. You look exactly like the photo that I have. And you say, no, that's not me. How do I force you to confirm who you are?
Because first of all, if you got this whole thick ass file, why at the top of the file it doesn't say this is a confirmed person? No, it does. It is confirmed.
No. They need you to confirm who you are before they can pick you up. That's the law that they're trying to pass.
Yes.
And that is goofy.
You know how racist? Do you know how racist some people are? Do you know like when people say that all black people look alike, all Asian people look alike, just because I look like somebody does not necessarily mean I'm that person?
I'm not disagreeing with you, but now how do I get you to prove it in the midst of me trying to pick you up? Of course you're going to say I don't have my ID on me and I'm going to have to let you go.
You know what you should do? What you should do is serve me a summons. Serve me. I think that you're this person, and then I have to go upon a judge. I have to go somewhere else and prove that this is not me. You don't get to just put a fucking cape over my head and throw me in the back of a car.
The majority of these people have not shown up for their immigration trial. That's why they're going after them, because they have missed their court dates.
Shout out to Ellis Island. Shout out to Ellis Island.
I just like to end this by saying, yo, first of all, y'all did an amazing job today.
Shout out to us.
We as black people exist in all shapes, sizes, forms, thoughts, processes. We really do. And I think this was a great example of being able to have a respectful conversation when we differ about our ideals, right? I find it interesting that Marien is not only super willing to come sit with us, but she said, yo, 4 years ago, I was completely different. This is something that I've learned, I've thought about, I've researched, I've debated time and time again. A lot of us, I learned a lot from listening to this conversation from both of y'all. And Charm, thank you for your involvement in the conversation. Do your due diligence, right? Do your research. Nothing that was said here has swayed me much, but definitely educated me on some things that I'm going to do research on. So I ask you that if you have questions, go over to hashtag #HASHTAG _Marien, MARIEN on Instagram, and _Marien on
just hashtag Marien.
Hashtag Marien on YouTube to watch her videos if you're interested. Remember, first, she's a black woman. Speak to her with respect if you differ. Support her if you do not. You have things coming up. You said you had a show that you just did.
The Jubilee?
Yeah.
I can't wait to see that. I watched Jubilee.
Yeah. Just Surrounded. I was one of the Surrounded, not the Surrounded. But that's really exciting. I'm going to watch it when I get home because it dropped while I was in church.
Okay, today?
I did a couple more Dr. Daff episodes, 1 conservative versus 20 liberals. So you guys can watch that. That would be...
Was that fun?
Let me tell you something. When I say I've never seen people live up to stereotypes as much as those women lived up to stereotypes, I spent half the time watching them argue amongst each other. I'm not even joking. So I'm excited to see that episode. We'll see how much of the arguing they even leave in the final episode. But I'm going back out there next month to do a few more episodes. I'm going to be live with John A. I cannot pronounce his last name. He is a preacher who goes around pointing out debaucherous books that are in children's libraries and speaking to school boards and pointing out the books that need to be removed because they have illicit sex scenes in them and they're in the libraries of middle schoolers like my daughter. And I've just been doing a lot, to be honest, guys. I'm working on the YouTube, so if you have episodes that you want me to, things you want me to cover, feel free to message me about that. But I would say to end, someone in the comments said, I wonder what life event made her change from Democrat to Republican. So what I will say is I started actually thinking, and I realized that I had been not thinking when it came to politics my entire life. I was being a standard Black person who just voted blue because that's what you do as a brown person in America. And when I decided not to take the vaccine in 2020, and everyone in my life who used to be my best friend and my family vilified me for that and told me I was just a horrible person, I started doing research. I came to Christ, read the Bible, received an understanding, discernment, and looked around and realized that nothing that the Democrat Party pushes is something that I want my community to be involved in. So, saying all that to say, thank you guys for watching. I know that it's not easy, but I know that it's hard to listen to someone that you don't like and, receive them. So I respect everyone in the comments for receiving me. And I would just suggest that you go ahead and research for yourself, because as I was telling you prior to the cameras rolling, I don't think you can call yourself anything without questioning it again, and then deciding whether or not you actually believe in it.
That was a great way to end, girl.
#_Marien. We'll see y'all next week. So shameless.
Yay.